Sorry, my mic was turned off. Good afternoon, everybody. Freshly afternoon, 1 minute after noon, to welcome to our special meeting of council for Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. It is 12:01. Call the meeting to order. Just for clarity, the purpose of this special meeting is to interview the official candidates and select by vote a new member of council for the town of Midland. We have those candidates in attendance today, so welcome everybody, and welcome to the folks that are following along at home or watching on Rogers. I'd like to start off, as we traditionally do, with our land acknowledgement that the town of Midland recognizes it's located on land, which is the traditional and treaty territory of the Anishinaabeg people, now known as the Chippewa Tri-Council, comprised of Beausoleil First Nation, Rama First Nation, and the Georgina Island First Nations. The territory is within Pre-Confederation Treaty 5 and Treaty 16 and included in the Williams Treaties of 1923. Town of Midland recognizes it's located on land which is traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and historic homelands of the Métis, and that our town is home to a large and diverse community of Indigenous peoples. I'd like to deliver the following safety message now. Should the fire alarm activate, please exit the room in an orderly fashion and proceed to the evacuation assembly area, which is located in the upper parking lot. You can exit through the main entrance, the double glass doors there, make an immediate left and proceed out the front doors and through the secondary exit right in here behind Councillor Ball. Up the stairs, check the door for heat, of course, before opening, and if it's safe, exit onto the second floor, turn right and proceed out the door in front of you. The washrooms are located on the second floor to the left of the seating area. An elevator is located just outside the main entrance. As Midland has a respectful workplace policy, anyone exhibiting violent or harassing behavior will be asked to leave. And for anyone requiring a hearing assist device, please advise the clerk, and she will arrange with our IT staff to provide you with that device. Council meetings are recorded via Zoom and are posted on the town's YouTube site. And these meetings are also broadcast on Rogers TV, Midland Channel 53, and I'm led to believe that's happening right now. So hello, folks in Rogers land, and welcome. So I'll start things off, Council, with declarations of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest relating to today's agenda? Seeing none online, and I'd like to welcome Councillor McDonald, who's doing her civic duty by remoting in on vacation, no less, from Portugal. So welcome, and by the miracle of modern technology, you're able to be with us today. Thank you. I do have a motion here moved by Councillor Bald, seconded by Councillor East, that the contents of the special meeting of council agenda for March 27th, 2024 be approved. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. So next we move on to the appointment of candidate to the vacant councillor seat. 5.1, the procedure will be explained by our clerk. So I will turn the mic over to Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. As this is a special meeting of council, I have provided some documents on desk for you. I've included the mayor's question that he will be asking all 7 candidates, as well as your individual pre-assigned questions that you will ask of the final 3. I've also provided a complete list of the questions that everyone is going to be asking in case you needed it for reference, just for your information. And the one form that is in your package is the candidate selection form, and that's the form you will be using once all 7 candidates have completed their interview section, and that's where you will pick your top 3. I've provided a few copies because it may take a few rounds to get to the top 3. And then I've also provided some lined paper. With the voting forms that we will be prepared in the final stage of the interview, we're going to prepare those once we know who the final 3 are. And those forms should be signed. You will state your choice verbally, but also sign the document and then return the documents back to myself. They will form part of the public record, and we keep them on file for about 3 months. I think that's it.
Super. So I think there's another preamble for you to read now. That was the pre-preamble, so I'll turn it back over to our virtual teleprompter here, which is the documents that you've prepared for us today.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following candidates wish to be considered for appointment to the councillor seat vacancy: Terry Condon, Robert Bob Jeffrey, Eric Howie Major, Cody Oshevsky, Jasmine Patel, Robert C. Thorpe, and Yvonne Teets. I can confirm that the candidates have registered accordingly with the clerk in writing and have completed the council vacancy application form, declaration of qualifications form, candidate information release form, declaration of confidentiality form, and endorsement of nominations by the prescribed deadline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I now have a motion moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Meredith, that the following 7 individuals who have signified in writing that they are legally qualified to hold office and consented to accept the office if they are appointed to fill the council vacancy be considered for appointment to fill such vacancy. That is Terry Condon, Bob Jeffrey, Eric Major, Howie Major, Cody Ovchesky, Jazz Patel, Robert Thorpe, and Yvonne Teets. Is there any discussion on this motion, Council, or otherwise I'll call the question? I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. All right, so each candidate has been provided or has provided a personal statement of qualifications, and they've been included in the agenda for Council's consideration. Section 5.4 of agenda now provides that the intent of the initial interviews is to reduce the candidates to 3, ultimately, who will then proceed to the full interview process. The 7 candidates will all be sequestered in a boardroom up in the municipal offices upstairs where no electronics will be permitted, smartwatches, cell phones, and whatnot, just to protect the integrity of the questions that are happening while they're sequestered. The order of candidate interviews will be determined by a lot, aka random from the fishbowl, conducted by the clerk. Each candidate will be afforded an opportunity to address council for a period not more than 5 minutes. Once they have made their statements, I will ask the one question that council has picked, that all candidates will be asked the same single question. They'll be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to that question. Please note, council, that council members may only ask questions for clarification, and that there is no debate or conversations or really back and forth with the responses to the question that I'll be asking. When completed, the candidates may remain in council chambers. Any questions, council, about this procedure? Should align with our training that we took. This is our first kick at the can with this new policy too, so credit goes to our clerk for all the research to get this together. So Madam Clerk, if you could please select the first candidate who can stay in council chambers. And then once we have that random selection made, we'll ask the remaining candidates to exit the council chambers, follow the clerk's coordinator, Catherine Lemesurier, up to the Dominion room, just up the stairs and to the right. Preparing the names for the fishbowl. I don't know if it's a fishbowl, but looks like one. We don't have the Jeopardy music queued up to play for this part, so.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first candidate will be Jazz Patel.
All right, super. So the rest of the candidates, please follow Catherine Lemesurier upstairs, and she'll take you up to the Dominion room. And I look forward to hearing from all of you in the coming hour. All right, I'd like to welcome Jazz to the podium. You have 5 minutes to present to council, and we will be using an audible timer, which will make some kind of sound when we hit 5-minute mark. We'll start that when you're ready, and I'll ask the deputy clerk to start the timer when you indicate that you're ready to go.
Thank you, Your Worship. Namaste, Your Worship, Deputy Mayor, and Councillors. I begin with the greeting, Namaste, though translated as hello. Its deeper meaning is, I bow to the divinity in me, to the divinity in you. Today, I'm humbled by the opportunity to share my journey and aspirations. My name is Jazz Patel, and like many of you, I came to this beautiful town seeking a better life, but found a place to call home. My story begins in 1993 when I arrived in Ontario from India. Since then, I have embraced the values of hard work, resilience, and community spirit that defines Canadian life. In 2002, while finishing my college diploma at Centennial College in business administration and marketing, I made Midland my home, married my beautiful wife in 2006, and built a family while contributing to the fabric of our town. Throughout my 20-year career managing a business, engaging with the members of the community, I have always prioritized integrity, compassion, and environmental sustainability. I'm also motivated by the pursuit of knowledge and exploring various approaches and efficiencies. I have cultivated strong roots within the Midland community by placing sound decision-making at the forefront of my priorities to have impactful benefits while managing the expenditures. I have supported the implementation of the municipal accommodation tax, aiming to foster socio-economic and cultural benefits for the town. Furthermore, I hope to be part of this MAT steering committee to achieve this goal. I'm also engaged in the governance of the Ganaraska Hiking Trail Association, volunteering in various roles of the organization. These multifaceted responsibilities have shaped my identity as a diverse and a team-oriented individual. As a member of the South Asian community, I have promoted the growth and its positive impact on our town. Families moving to Midland are entrepreneurs or professionals who are making substantial economic and social impact. By organizing events, I have dedicated myself to helping new families integrate into our community, enriching our cultural and social experience. Our mayor can attest to this work. In honoring the legacy of our late friend Jack, I'm committed to building on the foundation of diversity he championed. I believe that this diversity is our greatest strength, and by working together, we can achieve greatness. The knowledge I have gained throughout my career has enabled me to manage a profitable business in a competitive hotel industry. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to navigate our business efficiently without relying on government grants. These experiences have equipped me with resilience and determination needed to achieve success. My vision for Midland is one for inclusive growth, where every voice is heard and every person is valued. I believe in the power of diversity, the importance of sound decision-making, and need for bold actions to address challenges we face. Now I stand before you as a candidate for municipal council, driven by a deep sense of duty and desire to serve. While I may lack traditional political experience, I bring a wealth of life experiences and diverse perspective and relentless work ethic. As a member of the council, I will advocate for policies that promote economic prosperity, cultural enrichment, and environmental stewardship. I pledge to listen, be accessible, responsive, and accountable to the residents of Midland. Together, we can shape a future that we can all be proud of. So I ask for your support, your trust, your vote. It would be an honor to join the council and support a strategic vision so we can build a better, brighter tomorrow for Midland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have one question to ask, and when the clerk is ready with the 2-minute timer, I'll follow up with that question. Good to go? Fantastic. Chaz, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? What do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? You have 2 minutes starting now.
So I believe the important role is we have to represent the public and the well-being of the town, maintain the financial integrity, evaluate policies and programs, and throughout all these practices and procedures, have accountability and transparency throughout the operation, and working with the staff to ensure the policies are in place.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome to take a seat in the council chambers, and we'll continue on the process. All right, Madam Clerk, I'll ask you to draw the next candidate from the fishbowl, as it were.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next candidate will be Robert Thorpe, and I will just advise our coordinator to send him down to council chambers.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to now welcome to the podium Mr. Thorpe. Mr. Thorpe, you'll have 5 minutes to present to council.
Yeah.
And we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you're ready. I'll ask the deputy clerk to start the timer when you indicate that you're ready to go. And following your presentation, I'll have one question for you that you'll be given 2 minutes to answer.
Very good. Thank you very much. And welcome all the people here, and Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and councillors. Thanks for the opportunity. I think just briefly, I'll just start saying who I am. I'm a Midlander. Came here in 1966. I worked in the funeral business after going to MSS, and I was a funeral director in Midland, and then I went to Toronto, and then I came back to Midland. Been retired for some time now. Installs manager at Home Depot after that. After a few years off, I felt like I need to get back to work. But important things in this town to me. We only got 5 minutes, so I just want to mention a couple of things that I would like to engage in. One is the diversity in our town. We're getting more and more people coming up from the city. Some have been born here. And I think one thing that is important to me is that for the community and all of us to engage with these people, because we have to remember when they came up from other areas, whether it's Brampton or Toronto, they all lived in pods type of deal. Everybody, like the Brampton area was the East Indian area, Woodbridge was the Italian area. When they come up here, they're not used to dealing with us Midlanders necessarily. So engaging with them, saying hello, I think it really opens up, conversation with them, makes them feel more welcome. Another thing that's important to me is the shelter. I meet with these people, not personally meet with them, but I go with a group of people to Tim Hortons every day. And at 8 o'clock, when they leave the shelter, they go to Tim Hortons. And these people, on the most part, are very nice people. And I engage with them regularly. We talk, and trying to perhaps get them to maybe activate a little bit more. I look at the downtown, the main street. A couple of you have business. I know Sheldon, you've got the jewelry store, and Billy's got properties down there. The downtown main street, after all the resources Midland put into making that so beautiful, and it is beautiful, I'm saddened to see some of the vacant properties that may be owned locally or they may be owned by out-of-towners, and how poorly taken care of they are. I walk up there, I pick up cardboard. There's stuff in these storefronts, and I would like to try to engage even some of the people in the shelter. You're not going to get 100%, but you might get 10 or 20% that would maybe once a week give us their time, or give me their time, and we would do a little once a week cleanup on that main street, because it's so beautiful. All that interlock, all the money spent there. That's important to me as well. User fees, that's been in the news, we know, with Tiny, the issues in Tiny not covering user fees. And I think user fees are things that have to be, they've got to come on board. or the residents have to pay a fee. So that's important to me. Midland shares out a lot of money for all these facilities. We got soccer fields. We have all these people. People are going to join a house league. I think user fees are something we should certainly continue to pursue. And the local library, that's another thing, the local library. Midland Bay Landing, we all want to see that happen in your term, maybe in my term if I'm selected. I would love to see that go forward and come to a decision on vacant space or public space, a mixture of businesses and perhaps housing. I would love to see that to come through. I think one of my strengths, although I'm a little bit nervous right now, I think one of my strengths from my business career has been certainly my empathetic nature. I really enjoy talking to people. I enjoy to be happy. My years in the funeral business, the interpersonal skills dealing with people of all walks of life, I think has really, not knowingly, but it's prepared me to do what you people do. You know, just engage with people and get along. I'm a longtime Midlander, although I was 24 years out of Midland in the work field. I've owned property up in Midland. I had a home in that area. Then I had a place on Georgian Bay for 25 years. And my kids were raised here.
I think that's your 5 minute. It sounds like the coffee machine's ready to explode too. I don't know what that is, but
okay.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Robert. So we'll just maybe take a second to see what that is, so we don't have a coffee explosion or don't know what could be making that sound back there. And then I'll ask you our follow-up question. Oh, come on back to the podium. I got one more for you.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Don't see where it's coming from. Coming from up top. Okay, well, Michael, he's probably watching this. And he'll be running down in a second. Anyway, notwithstanding the sound, nothing's going to blow up, I guess. The question that we're asking each candidate is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? And I'll repeat that. What do you feel is the most important role as a member of council?
I think the most important role as a member of council is to engage with our community. You know, I spoke about that briefly here, but I think it's to engage with our community. Really think through our responsibilities and our decisions. We aren't always going to get along, well, hopefully we'll all get along, but we aren't always going to come to the same conclusion. And I think that dealing through that, talking it out, which I see with this particular council, I've been quite pleased with this council, how things are discussion, things aren't out of whack that I've seen in previous councils. But I think that's my main thing, and welcoming the diversity of our community is very important to me. I'm really pleased with the changes that I've seen happen in Midland as it's grown through the years. So I don't know what else I could say about that, but that's the main thing: engaging with people, welcoming people, saying hi on the street. I say hi to everybody walking down the street, and yeah, I think that's the main thing. And moving forward, this Midland Bay Landing thing.
All right, thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
Feel free to have a seat in the audience there, and Madam Clerk will select the next name.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next candidate will be Bob Jeffrey. Mr. Jeffrey's on his way down.
We got to the bottom of the sound. Apparently it's some work on the sprinkler system. So it's water going through the pipes, and the beeping that you probably hear out there is, it's all normal. So no need to assemble at the evacuation area just yet. Good afternoon, Mr. Jeffrey.
How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the podium, as it were. You'll be given 5 minutes to present to council, and we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you're ready to go. We'll ask the deputy clerk to start that timer, and following your presentation, I'll have one question for you, and 2 minutes to answer that one. So your 5 minutes starts when you're ready to go.
Okay. It's different on this side of the podium, I'll tell you. Anyways, go ahead. Start. Oh, we're going. Mr. Mayor, members of council, ladies and gentlemen of the gallery, I'm Bob Jeffrey. And yeah, as you were very aware, I'm competing for the open council seat. It was made vacant through the elevation of Beth Prost, the deputy mayor. Congratulations. I'm sure that we, as a community, are well aware of the chain of events that led or triggered this chain of events. The unexpected and untimely death of a friend, Jack Conn. I stand before you today to ask for your nomination and support for the position of councillor. Council and its tasks aren't foreign to me. Many will remember that I sat as a councillor representing the good citizens of Midland for, well, 26 consecutive years and a total of 31. I'm sure that with my experience and knowledge, I can fulfill the demands of the position related and relate to all taxpayers of the town of Midland. In June '77, I married my now lifelong better half, and Midland raised Sherry Jane McIntaggart. Because of that, it's my belief that the town of Midland adopted me as a son. So, in return, I returned the sentiment in 1980 and began a journey. You know, what a journey it was. I saw and was elected to the position of Alderman Ward 2. I embraced the entrusted position and was re-elected to represent Ward 2. But as the fates would have it, myself and all of council were representative of the whole town, not just a ward. There are, of course, challenges as an elected representative. However, items that I'm particularly proud of are CAO position, the coat of arms and motto, the new town hall, Simcoe Recreation Center. There's a host, and they all go on to just talk about how great the council was and what they did. But I think the crowning was the securing of the Indus Union lands, and you know it as the Bay Midland Landing. And at that time, we thwarted the cocoa paving people, who were real opportunists. The intent was to plan future development, keep taxes lower, and to enjoy wide open spaces for the people of Midland. This council has had the foresight and the fortitude to pause this very important project to ensure that indeed it will meet satisfactorily the needs and wants of the ratepayers. I want to be a part of that process. I trust that maintaining and improving, where possible, the excellent services that the citizens of the town and its employees give the citizens while exercising prudent financial management is realized to be a necessity. Endorsing development that complements our community's residential, commercial, and industrial sectors, utilizing proper controls, while at the same time renewing our existing infrastructure to keep it updated and in step with chosen development growth is a positive practice. Assessing, exploring, and investigating all issues and concerns with taxpayers' interest at the core to get the best possible solution for all is a given. Although during the most recent election, 2022, I was not able to secure a councillor position, I did manage to garner 1,508 votes. I placed a solid 8th in the councillor race and the runner-up choice should a vacant position become available as per jurisdiction. I bring this only to your attention in the event that you need further justification to vote for me. I sincerely believe that I'm qualified as someone who can clearly help fulfill the established strategic priorities and carry out the duties of the councillor, Town of Midland. That's it. Thank you. Question.
Thank you very much. So the question is, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? I'll repeat that. What do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? You have 2 minutes.
And the most important role, I think I've already sort of touched on it, and that is making sure that the people of the town of Midland, that their needs are met and that the people around the table listen to them. Otherwise, it's all for naught. Just, that's it. Sorry if I didn't take 2 minutes.
Nothing says you have to. Thank you very much. All right, feel free to have a seat in the audience, and we will draw the next name.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next candidate will be Eric Howie Major.
Good afternoon, Mr. Major, please, to the podium. I'd like to welcome you to the podium. You have 5 minutes to present to council, and we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you indicate that you're ready. When you're finished your 5 minutes, I'll have a question for you that you'll have 2 minutes to answer. So 5 minutes when you're ready to go.
Yep. So just to let everyone know, first time we've had a tie in 10 years. But anyways, let's get going. My name's Eric Howie Major. I was raised in Midland, married to Ann Major, raised 4 Major kids, Sherry, Mike, Terry, and Patrick. We got 9 grandkids from 23 years of age. I work at Bourgeois Motors Ford as a shuttle and parts delivery driver. The job allows me to engage with the community daily. I am fortunate to speak to a lot of locals and hear their many concerns, see what our residents are facing on a personal level on a day-to-day basis. Being on committees and being a part-time resident of Midland, I know most of the staff, so when residents ask me for help or direction on how to solve the problems, I can direct them to the proper department. I always make myself available for answer the questions, can offer my help. Charities and I have volunteered in Midland, Friends Kids Golf, Party on the Dock, Penetang Hall of Fame, and Snyder Elmira. For years we went down there. I drove in the Santa Claus Parade for a lot of years because I was a professional truck driver. Just when the Olympic torch came to Midland, and summer senior games. I was privileged to run for council twice, and I've not yet been elected to council, but I've been 2 committees, Transportation and Committee of Adjustment, both of which I'm in my 2nd term, each term running 4 years. The Committee of Adjustment is a committee made up of Midland residents appointed by council that make decisions on applications for minor variances and contents. The same committee also functions as a property standards committee, which considers appeals related to the property standards bylaw. The committee runs like a council with a person and a vice chair. If a property owner wishes to make a minor change to the zoning bylaw regulations, would differ only slightly from provisions, the owner may apply to the Committee of Adjustment minor variances rather than going to the zoning and department. The committee will then vote on it. All right, let's talk about active transportation. On our first term in office, we accomplished the following: installation of press button crosswalks, 6th Street and Yonge, Midland Avenue and Bayshore, which is a favorite of mine because that's named after me, Howie's Walk. Elizabeth and William, Scott and William, we did the trail behind the courthouse down the park. The path from Hugel to Cook Avenue is done. Installation of Bullard at the end of the lawn bowlers road so people can't drive down past lawn bowling and figure eights in the car in the park. And we reduced the speed limit on Cook Avenue down to 40 kilometers. We are very pleased and proud of our accomplishments in the first term. I was a professional driver and now shuttle driver at Bourgeois, so I brought a different dynamic to the committee. Working as a team, we were able to accomplish a lot of stuff. I truly believe I'm the right person for council. In my day-to-day movements around town, whether driving or walking, I interact with town staff and compliment on accomplishments and let them know when they're doing a great job. I share feedback from residents and offer suggestions in a lighthearted way to department heads of the town, and because of their trust they have with me, we get along just fine. I refereed ice hockey and ball hockey for many years. The experience taught me to work and trust partners and make quick decisions. As a shuttle driver, I interact with citizens in Midland, and that gives me a chance to help them with their concerns and direct them to town. I think with my outgoing personality, passion for Midland, and knowing how to be a team player, I would get seamlessly on council. I understand that the job of council is to represent the citizens of Midland, and that is exactly what I want to do. That's it.
Thank you very much. Just before I ask you the follow-up question, could you grab your little mic box and just pull it a little bit closer towards you? Thanks. It just needs to see the ceiling, and I noticed it was strobing, so I just wanted to make sure people at home could hear your voice.
Well, I hope they see me at home.
They can see you at home, for sure. So the question is, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? I'll repeat that. What do you feel is the most important role as a member of council?
The most important role of a member of council is to represent the citizens of Midland in the best of your ability. They come first. It doesn't matter what anyone has an agenda. That goes out the window. We're here to represent the citizens of Midland at the best of our abilities.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome to have a seat in the audience, and we'll call down the next random contestant.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next candidate will be Cody Olszewski.
Welcome to the podium, Mr. Olszewski. I'd like to let you know you have 5 minutes to present to council, and we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you indicate you're ready. And I'll ask the deputy clerk to start the timer then. And following your 5 minutes, I have one question of you that you'll be given 2 minutes to answer, or up to 2 minutes to answer. Take it away anytime.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Team Midland. My name is Cody Olszewski. I am the maintenance team leader at ZF Automotive here in Midland, one of the largest employers in town. As you know, I was the runner-up to Deputy Mayor Jack Conton in the last election, which is ultimately the reason for the vacancy today. Rest in peace to Jack, and much respect to the Conton family. After being successful 2 elections in a row and having the highest number of votes, I felt the natural next progression was to run for deputy mayor. I totally underestimated my competition, and I'm proud now knowing what I know with the amount of votes I received. Very proud of Deputy Mayor Prost for filling these big shoes. The first few months after losing the election were very rocky for me. I was sure I'd be a town of Midland councillor for the rest of my life. They say God puts you back together in front of the people that broke you. And you didn't break me, and the residents didn't break me, but my passion and enthusiasm and love for this position were seemingly irrelevant overnight. I had a really hard time dealing with that. My psychologist has taught me since then, pivot problems into progress. I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and told myself I had 4 years to be the best person I can be for the next election. I made some substantial life changes, got back to being involved politically in the area, took on some more roles in my real life job, dedicated my life to being a better man, husband, father, and friend, and eventually, given the opportunity, a better counselor. I've been participating in some planning groups for local events, fundraising a bit, participating in charity events, and getting involved in health and wellness causes wherever I can. Multiple counselors can attest to my counting down the days to the next election long before this position ever became available. I never took my eye off the prize. I never got out of touch with what was going on politically in town. I've been inspired by many things going on with the new council that I feel like I could help grow the seeds that have been planted. The 2-day Butter Tart Festival suggestion by Councillor Jim Downer, I can commit to being involved, actively volunteering. I'm even willing to host evening entertainment or coordinate the hiring as I'm very well connected to the music and entertainment scene in Midland. Boots on the ground. Councillor Bald lighting up when she talked about the SSEA community cleanups. I would love to be more involved in these and even host some of my own like the old days. Rubber boots on the ground. Councillor Ball's aspirations for youth-led initiatives. We've communicated about working together and now have a third party reaching out to us to get involved to make this reality before the youth that we're trying to reach out to are no longer youth. Let's get some youth boots on the ground. Councillor McDonald in Portugal. Discussions about more accessible events calendar and better cooperation with third-party event coordinators is right up my alley, as well as their passion for the environment and climate. Let's find a property, get staff permission, we can meet together and plant some beautiful wildflowers or some trees. Let's get some roots in the ground. Councillor East, you're a role model of mine, a great sober man, a successful small business owner, and a great father and husband to a beautiful family. I dream of working side by side with you, and we've talked about it multiple times when our roles were reversed. Regardless of titles, we're both ever-growing male role models for our community, and I'm extremely proud to know you. I wear the Town of Midland ring you gave me every day for years as a message of strength. Only legends have one of these. Councillor Meredith, your passion for fiscal responsibility and your ability to dissect reports and ask good questions to steer the conversation. Your attention to detail on financial matters and ability to compromise at the end of the conversations makes you a great counselor and someone I'd love to work with. I was once a kid at all ages night at Bleachers when wings were 25 cents. We both grew up seeing this beautiful town evolve from very different positions. Mayor Gordon and Deputy Mayor Prost, you are the leaders of our town. I'm happy to have experience working with both of you. I have great experience with both of you professionally and politically. You two set the tone for our town at County Council and are ultimately the faces of our community. I will work every day under your direction of the town. I will respect you as leaders and I will never let you down. I think I bring a great balance of experience and youthful enthusiasm to this position. 8 years as a town councillor and sitting on almost all the boards at one time or of another. I've been open and transparent and readily engaged the public when I was a councillor and have continued to since losing the position. I hope to work with this council on your strategic goals and make all of the decisions based on them. I hope to be political allies with members of this council into future elections for decades to come. I hope to work with you to shape this community, to be enthusiastic leaders and role models for our residents, to represent our seniors and youth the same, to welcome visitors while making life better for our residents. Open for business for development, new events, creative ideas, housing solution, harm reduction solutions, resources for our most vulnerable. I commit to being boots on the ground at events, fundraisers, and all Midland going-ons, the fun ones and the not so fun. Bygones are bygones, we're stronger together. Here I am, pieces put back together. As much as this has been a bit of a job interview and I've talked a lot about me, this isn't about me. This is about your team and me wanting to be an enthusiastic, positive addition to it. Your master plan is my guide. I will live by it every day and under the direction of Mayor and Deputy. Midland is my passion. I appreciate your time. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Right on the button.
Pretty close.
Thank you. So my follow-up question to you, we have 2 minutes to answer, is what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? And I'll repeat that. What do you feel is the most important role as a member of council?
I think the most important part about being a councillor is being picked by the people of Midland. It's a democratically elected position, and I think that's so important. I know that this procedure is a little off of the normal democratic procedure, but I think at the end of the day, we need to come out with a candidate that you think the public would choose. Imagine what politics would look like if we let our federal and provincial governments just choose who was good to work with and not who they think the public would choose. I think being in touch with the community, being open and transparent, being accessible and in touch with all residents of the community is what makes a great counselor, and what I personally feel makes me a great counselor. I'm an open book. I think it's incredibly important to be open to the residents and relatable, approachable, and recognizable in public.
All right, thank you very much. Feel free to have a seat in the body of the audience here as we'll call down our next
Thanks for your time.
participant. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yvonne Teets will be the next candidate.
Welcome back, Ms. Teets. I'd like to welcome you to our podium and let you know that you're going to have 5 minutes to present to council, and we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you indicate you're ready. And I'll ask the deputy clerk to start the timer. And when we've completed that, there'll be an additional question that I'll ask you, and you'll have 2 minutes on a timer to respond to that one as well. So take it away whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, Mayor Gordon, Deputy Mayor Prost, Councillors Ball, Bald, Downer, East, McDonald, and Meredith. My name is Yvonne Teets. Today, I humbly present myself for the councillor position for the period of 2024 to 2026 with the town of Midland. Since the position is open due to the passing of our former Deputy Mayor, Jack Honton, may he rest in peace. I am a lifelong resident and a Métis citizen with my Métis heritage as part of the Duzome, Clermont, and Beausoleil-Giroux family line. I have voluntarily dedicated myself for at least 7 years in the local Midland politics, the community events, along with attending local councils and various community board and committees. And you've probably seen me so many times. I am also currently the administrator of the Our Midland Facebook group with over 5,000 members. We're actually teetering about 5,400, so close to 5,500 members. This was entrusted to me by our founder, Mayor Gordon, to take over since he began his career in Midland Council. I have worked endlessly to bring continued awareness to the followers with my deep commitment to the people. I can contribute decades of management experience. I will continue to communicate with town staff and council to facilitate the relationships and the necessity of the position. I can apply my acquired degree in configuration management with a specialty in document control and advanced computer skills in this new technological business era. I am enthusiastic and a professional woman, and I will strive to be a voice for our community. I encourage and motivate men and women to get involved in our community, and that's on an ongoing basis. I would like to bring forward new ideas to address the high property taxes, the homelessness, and improve our community. With a budget-savvy mind, I am eager to collaborate with current council and with new ideas that would further benefit the residents in a positive manner. I am open-minded, able to listen and consider various viewpoints. I understand the role as a representative, and I am approachable. I would like to strengthen citizen engagement by improving communication and collaboration between residents, town council, the staff, which is essential to a thriving community. As a councillor, one must maintain public trust in an open and transparent manner, and I will continue all efforts to do so. I am confident that my skills and experience would be a great fit for this councillor position, and I will work to be fiscally diligent in the urgent need of this community's needs, as well as strengthening and building pillars for generations to be proud of with unwavering faith. I would be honored to have your support, and I thank you for your time today as I look forward to being a devoted member of this team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And my follow-up question to you is, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? Again, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? And you'll have 2 minutes.
I believe what is important in the councillor role is making sure to be there for your constituents. I feel that the people's voices are being driven through us to council and then to staff to try and make this a better community. And while we give that time and effort to the people, we can come back and be a whole community and getting them involved and letting them know that they're heard by listening to what they're looking for.
Thank you very much. Feel free to have a seat in the audience, and we can call down our last.
Thank you.
Don't really I can draw his name for show, but by process of elimination, the next contestant is.
The next candidate will be Terry Condon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Condon. Welcome back. I'd like to welcome you to the podium. We will have 5 minutes to present to council, and we'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you start or indicate you're ready. And I'll ask the deputy clerk to start that timer. And then following that, I'll be asking you a follow-up question that you'll have 2 timed minutes to respond to.
Perfect.
So take it away whenever you're ready.
I promise you this will be the last 5-minute speech today. I'm ready. Good afternoon, Your Worship, Council, and the viewing public. A little bit nervous, but I believe that means I want it that much. My name is Terry Condon, and I thank you for the consideration for the vacancy on this term of Town Council. I prefer not to speak about myself, other than to say that I meet all the criteria, and I'm very passionate about the town that I've lived in for 18 plus years. 35 if you consider living in Tay and Tiny as well. I have volunteered, been involved in sports, and helped run a very successful small business in this town. Every one of the candidates before me is deserving based on their involvement in the community. We all know that. This vacancy is not about me. It is about the town of Midland and what the town needs, not just today, but 10 years from now. My only agenda is to give the people of this town what they deserve: transparency and accountability. If selected, I will commit to provide that for all the citizens of this town. We have a future to protect and to flourish. Currently, there are over 1,600 students in our 2 local high schools. I look at that and imagine if just 25% of them decided to seek post-secondary education and then come back to work, live, and invest in the town they grew up in. We as council have the next 3 years in which we can show them that returning here is a choice that provides positive and endless rewards. The soon-to-be expanded hospital will increase our presence on the map, and we have a great opportunity to excel because of that as well. The strategic plan has been designed by the council for the town, and the right candidate will not only agree with it, but they must be willing to work through challenges as a team in order to make it a success. Austin Matthews is a top NHL scorer right now, but he has yet to win a Stanley Cup, simply because he doesn't have the right team with him. I believe that this council, with me as a member, will have the right team that will succeed in all aspects for the town of Midland. This town will succeed because it has a council that works well together to reach a common goal of making it a place that inspires people to move here, work here, and invest here. This council deserves a person who can not only work well with others, but also inspire fellow council members to give the extra effort to get the job done. We need to be able to motivate each other through the difficult challenges that are put forth. Creating a safe community comes from within. This team of passionate and dedicated council members, led by the current mayor, can not only obtain the comfort level requested by our taxpayers, but also set an example for other communities nearby. This council has succeeded with personalities that mesh rather than clash, and ideas that are nurtured, not just squashed. It has already been shown in the short term of council. Streamlining our services will not be without challenges, but we can be all on the same page, and I believe I'm the last piece of that puzzle. This town's success will, like every other business, succeed based on the right team, made of collective individuals dedicated to giving their knowledge, expertise, and passion in order to succeed for every one of our residents, businesses, and investors. I, Terry Condon, am beyond confident that I am the right person for this position. I am motivated, I'm a motivator, I'm passionate, responsible, and transparent. In closing, I will not ask my residents to choose me in the next election, but rather I will earn their vote over the next 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My follow-up question to you is, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? Again, what do you feel is the most important role as a member of council? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you for the question. I believe the most important part of member of council is to listen to our residents, to get their input of what they would like to see done, but to work together as a team to make the best decision, not the most popular decision. We have to earn the respect for making the hard decisions, which in the long run, our residents and our voting public will appreciate down the road. There are many agendas that are mandates that are passed on by the province or nationally that people don't know the background about, and council has to make a decision based on that. And I think the most important part of a council member is to not look at popularity, but make it what makes sense, not for just for today, but for 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, council, we've heard from all of our 7 candidates. We've now been at this for an hour, exactly. So I'd like to call for a 10-minute bio break. We'll stretch. During this 10 minutes, I'd ask you to turn your camera off because I'm not sure that the live feed would stop otherwise. And also to refrain from communicating with any of our candidates while we're on this break, just to preserve the sanctity of the process. But let's take 10 minutes, stretch your legs, get a coffee, and Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I also wanted to remind council not to discuss amongst yourselves during the break about any of the candidates.
Precisely. This is a pause in the process, and just simply, we'll be back in 10 minutes. So it's 1:01. We'll be back, let's say 9 minutes. At 1:10, we will resume. Everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us. So we're late by 2 minutes, but we all had a great bio break. And if you see it, catch any of us eating anything now, it's just we're finishing up our muffin or what have you. So, council, the first round is complete. Count basically in the instructions here, which is the way our policy reads, is council may have discussion, but we will reach a consensus as to the 3 candidates who will proceed to the full interview process. This isn't easy. We just heard from 7 really good candidates. They had their own unique perspectives at the podium, and it was really well done. So council, you've been provided with a candidate selection form on desk, and there's no direct time to do this, but the expectation is that each of you are going to choose your top 3 candidates, mark them on that form, and then I'll be asking the clerk to track the selections as we announce them and provide a total upon conclusion of the initial selections. So council, nothing compels us to have a discussion. You've all heard. You've very likely, identified people that have, risen to the cream typically rise to the top, even though we have really, it was well done. There's all 7 strong candidates. So I'll leave it in your hands, whether you'd like to have any discussion about getting to those top 3, or if we're just going to have you mark your top 3 on the paper, and we'll read them out to the clerk. If there's any appetite for discussion, let me know. Deputy Mayor.
Okay, it's not really discussion. I just, I want to say that all of you are fantastic. If this was a regular election, all of you would get my vote. Unfortunately, it can't be that way today, but all of you would 100% get my vote. You guys were great. Thank you.
Councillor East.
Thank you, through your worship. Yeah, it's not a conversation. I just wanted to thank everybody that took the time to apply and loved Midland enough to actually stand and move forward on to possibly becoming a councillor. That your devotion is what Midland loves and needs. So, sorry, not speaking far. I just wanted to thank everybody for making the effort.
Oh, Councillor Downer.
Thank you, Your Worship. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you for coming forward. I'd also like to say, if you're not successful today, don't give up. Put your name on a ballot in the next election, because you all impressed me very much. It's going to be very difficult to pick a winner out of that group. So thanks again for coming forward, and don't give up.
You're here. And a reminder, we still have vacancies on committees. We'd love to have you. It's a great training ground if you've never done it before. All right, council, has everyone got their 3 indicated on their sheet? Does anybody need more time? All right, I'll go around the table. Just as if you were here, Councillor McDonald, you would be on my farthest left. So if I could kick things off with you, if you can read the 3 people that you'd like to see go around to round 2.
Thank you. As everyone has previously mentioned, it's a difficult decision. Thank you for taking the time and presenting. But that's what we're elected for. As some of you mentioned, we're here to make difficult decisions. So in no particular order, just the way they're listed on my sheet, I would like to hear from the following 3: Terry Condon, Cody Olszewski, and Jazz Patel. I have my sheet signed and filled out.
Thank you very much. And then immediately to your virtual right, Councillor Ball.
Thank you.
I would like to hear from the following people: Terry, Cody, and Yvonne.
Next up, Councillor. Oh, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just for procedures, Councillor Ball, can you just repeat the names and say their full names, please?
Oh, you're going to test me now with people's full names, are you? Okay. Terry Condon, Cody Ostefsky, and Yvonne Teets.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you. Mr. Terry Condon, Mr. Eric Major, and Miss Yvonne Teets.
I shouldn't show my face. I gotta stop doing that.
Your mic's on, Catherine.
Thank you.
Councillor East.
Thank you, through your worship. Robert Jeffrey, Cody Ostefsky, and Yvonne Teets.
And over to the other side, Councillor Downer. Your mic, you need your mic.
Robert Jeffrey, Eric Howie Major, and Cody Ostefsky.
Thank you, Councillor Bald.
Terry Condon, Jazz Patel, and Robert Thorpe.
Deputy Mayor.
Howie Major, Cody Ostefsky, and Yvonne Teets.
And last but not, I think I'm last, right? Done, everybody? I have Bob Jeffrey, Eric Howie Major, and Jazz Patel. And this may require multiple rounds depending where we get to. So I'll let the clerk do the tabulation.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first candidate that will go through to the next stage is Cody Ostefsky with 5 votes. We have 3 candidates with 4 votes. That would be Terry Condon, Howie Major, and Yvonne Teets. Bob Jeffrey received 3 votes, and Jazz Patel received 3. So I will ask council to consider 2 additional candidates from the remainder of the ones that are still on the card.
Can you repeat the names that were, so we can basically cross off the ones that are no longer in the running on our cards?
Yep, sorry about that. Bob Jeffrey is off the list with 3 votes, as is Jazz Patel, as is Robert Thorpe. So the ones remaining will be Terry Condon, Howie Major, and Yvonne Teets. And we need 2 as Cody Ostefsky is already through to the next stage.
Deputy Mayor, question?
Yes. To the clerk.
I apologize. We could.
I just wanted to clarify. We're on to like we pick the next paper under here and do it again. And it's 3.
Yeah, so there's 3 names left. We need to get it down to 2. So your choices are between Terry Condon, Eric Howie Major, and Yvonne Teets to advance. So we need to get that 3 down to 2.
Your worship, for clarification, as this is a new process, because it's just eliminating to have 3 candidates move forward, everybody is still in the competition. So Cody Olszewski has gone through, so you can vote for 2 of the remaining. Who get the most votes, then we'll decrease it as we go.
Okay, so that's not what I just said. So nobody's stroked off the list. Everybody's still viable, except we don't need to worry about Cody Olszewski because he's already made it through. Perfect. So you're going to pick 2 more from the entire list. Everybody made their selection for 2 more? Anybody need any more time? Good. Okay, so we'll start again at the left. So Councillor McDonald.
My apologies. My 2 selections are Terry Condon and Yvonne Teets.
Thank you. Councillor Ball.
Terry Condon and Yvonne Teets.
Councillor Meredith.
Mr. Eric Major and Miss Yvonne Teets.
Councillor East.
Bob Jeffrey and Yvonne Teets.
Yeah, you can still, Jeffrey's still in. Everybody's on your available on your list with the exception of Mr. Olszewski because he's already made it through. So you can choose from all 6 other candidates. Do you need a minute to remark your form? You're choosing 2 out of the remaining 6. Good to go. All right, Councillor Downer. Oh, just need your mic on for the folks at home.
Councillor Bob Jeffrey, Bob Jeffrey, Councillor, and Eric Major. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bald.
I'm not clear on things, but basically, Mr. Patel, Jazz Patel, is he in?
Yep, he's still in the running. Yep.
And Mr. Thorpe.
Very good. Just get you to turn your mic off so the next one can go on. No problem. Deputy Mayor.
Eric Major and Yvonne Teets.
And I have Eric Major as well and Jazz Patel.
According to the consensus, we have 5 for Yvonne Teets, so she will be the second candidate through to the final round of interviews. And Terry Condon had 2 votes, Bob Jeffrey 2 votes, Howie Major 4 votes, Jazz Patel had 2, and Robert Thorpe had 1. Now, just to clarify, although you may have voted for someone on this round or suggested a name, you can, well, obviously now with the 2 people missing, you don't have to stick with the original list that you had, or if you have changed your mind. So now you just use the other document that you have, another copy, and just choose one person. And hopefully the one person will to go forward. Sorry.
Or we just keep on going. Okay, so the 2 people that have made it through to the next round, Madam Clerk, again, are?
The 2 candidates to go to the final interview process are Yvonne Teets and Cody Olszewski. So now council can vote for one of the remaining candidates that are left on the form.
Perfect, thank you. So 1 X on the sheet, folks.
And in order to move ahead to the final interview, the one person would need 5 votes.
Anybody need more time, Council? All right, Councilor McDonald back in the hot seat.
For round 3, I am selecting Terry Condon.
Thank you, Councilor Ball.
Terry Condon.
Councilor Meredith.
Terry Condon.
Councilor East.
Bob Jeffrey.
Councilor Downer.
Bob Jeffrey.
Councilor Bald.
Jazz Patel.
Deputy Mayor.
Howie Major.
And I've got Jazz down again. I'm consistent.
Stalemate. Have a discussion. Three for Terry, 2 for Bob, 2 for John.
Your worship, we don't have a candidate who has the majority of council, which would be 5 to move ahead to the final interview. We do have Terry Condon with 3 votes, Bob Jeffrey with 2, Howie Major with 1, Jazz Patel with 2. So at this point, council should have discussion and come to a consensus as to 5 of you should agree on the one candidate going forward to the final interview process. Once you've had your discussions, then we can take the final vote.
All right, Council, maybe this is the awkward part that none of us really wanted to have was discussions. We were hoping we would just get the numbers. So I'll kick off the awkwardness. And maybe I'll just start with, why I'm consistently voting for Mr. Patel. So just to be clear to everyone, I approached Mr. Patel when the vacancy happened and I encouraged him to run for council. Ultimately, how he does at the podium and the stuff he says and what he believes is entirely up to him and up to council accepting it. I asked him to run for council for a variety of reasons. One of which is I believe we desperately need to have diversity on our council. as especially a bridge to either the Indigenous community that we lost with our deputy mayor, or the very fast growing South Asian community that's growing immensely in our community. The South Asian community pretty much locks up the hotels, the fast food restaurants, a lot of the corner stores, and they're big employers in town. They pay a lot of taxes, and they're a different culture than makes up the normal sort of traditional waspy fabric that is Midland. And that was something that attracted me to Jack when I first met him and his perspectives. And I thought that diversity was really good for our decision making. And I believed that right up to his untimely death. When I went looking and doing some soul searching about new candidates that could, run in this election, I worked with Jazz through the MAT tax, quite frankly, and I was very impressed that his initial position on behalf of the hotelers whom he was representing was not to support this, and that it was unfair. It was a tax grab that was placed solely on hotel operators, no short-term operators. And so with meetings with both Deputy Mayor Conton and myself and Jazz and some of his peers in the community, after making the pitch, he changed his mind, which to me is a very, very important tell in leadership in the municipality, that you may start off with one opinion, a very strong opinion, that's based on fact, and you're open to having your mind changed when you hear other facts and other perspectives. And so it was that moment that the light bulb went on for me. And I thought, here's somebody who has the characteristics that would make a great counselor. Clearly, he doesn't have any experience in council, but I would also argue that the majority of this council is brand new. And none of you had the experience when you signed up and put your name in and got elected. And look at the amazing things that we're doing together this term. So I don't hold the fact that somebody doesn't have experience, against them. I think there's other strengths people bring to the table, and all of you are evidence of that. That doesn't discount the experience that is before us with candidates such as Mr. Oshevsky, who is going through to number 2 or to our second round, and also the breadth of experience that Bob Jeffrey brings to the table. Decades of experience. That's equally important, but to me, in my decision-making thus far, it doesn't outweigh new blood, new thinking, and giving people new opportunities to sit up here and serve the community that don't have that experience. And quite frankly, most of you are testaments to that. So that's my rationale and why I've been steadfastly endorsing Mr. Patel, because I believe he'd be a good addition to the team. Not to say that the other candidates wouldn't, but clearly it's something I sought out and have endorsed along the way. And quite frankly, I told Mr. Patel if he had a terrible podium this morning that I couldn't support him because I would look like an idiot doing so. But I think he did a fantastic job. He's, I believe, of the candidates, he's the next one that should go to round 2 and ultimately put to the test of the 8 questions we're going to be offering up, and then council can pick amongst those 3. So I'd be asking for your support in advancing Jazz to round 2 for those reasons. I have more, but I don't want to monopolize the time, but I really thought I should share that with you. So, Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak on Mr. Patel as well. I really appreciated you coming forward about your business in the pandemic and how profitable it remained. That takes a lot of resilience. It obviously speaks to your financial planning, your strategic planning, and your ability to see future growth. I appreciated that part of your speech entirely, and I think you'd be a good candidate. I, however, was inspired by Terry, which is why I have chosen him the last few rounds. I believe him speaking about youth, the 1,600 kids in high school. Everybody knows that youth is near and dear to my heart, and I believe that that's the future of Midland. And I do not discount that you have every ability to do that as well, but he inspired me with that and with his conversation about inspiring and motivating each other in council. I think that's something that you were the only one that did discuss, and I think that is definitely something that this council, I'm proud to say that we do that, and I would love for somebody to come on that also has that in mind. I appreciated that part. I believe you also have a growth and future mindset, which you, so Bill's messing up the microphone here with his metal water bottle. So I just wanted to speak as to why Terry was my choice for the last few rounds and why I believe that he should be here.
Councillor Downer.
Well, I sit in support of Councillor Bob Jeffrey. I spent over 20 years on council with Bob. He's a man of integrity. The people of Midland put him in office over 10 times. That's quite a record. He wouldn't have been put in 10 times if he wasn't an integral person, believe me. And he raised his family here. He knows the municipal act inside out. He's just an all-around great guy, and I think he'd be a real asset to have back on council. Thank you.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Yeah, it's been a difficult decision here to get the last one for sure. Experience does speak volumes, but as Mayor Gordon stated, that we've done pretty good for a year and a half so far on term, with coming in with the majority with not much experience. So that is not really in my my decision making on whether you're experienced or not. I'm between right now, and everybody is deserving, obviously. And it's been difficult, but I'm struggling with between Terry Condon and Mr. Major. Mr. Major has dedicated a lot of his time to the town of Midland. Still stands on boards and committees. He's committed to the town. He's proven that, even though he's ran twice and wasn't elected. And then we have Mr. Condon, who stated, his coming to council is not about him. It's about the community first. It's about our residents' voices to be heard, and overall, it impressed me, his speech too. So I'm between them two, and I'll just leave it at that right now. I have a tough time deciding.
So I'm not really feeling like there's any, we might be almost at an impasse. So, I mean, I guess probably the easiest thing to do in the world of compromise is, if there doesn't seem like there's enough support for Mr. Patel, which is perfectly fair, that's how this works, then, I'm prepared to look at another candidate to build consensus with my peers so we can get into round two, where that's where the real action happens, because we grill everybody with 8 questions. So, we're down to, oh, Catherine, sorry about that. I saw your hand, but I wasn't sure if you just hold it in there. Please go ahead. Just trying to narrow down the list. It sounds like we have Terry, Bob, Howie, who are really the 3 that we're trying to work through to get down to 1.
Like all my fellow councillors, I struggle with as well. And I'm swinging towards Mr. Patel on this round. I gave everyone a score when they spoke, just in their presentations, 1 to 10. And Mr. Patel came out the highest in that way. And based on what their presentation and the mayor's response. So yeah, then this 4th round is certainly going to be a difficult decision, but we can do it, team.
All right, so folks, you're getting a look under the covers. This is the kind of conversations we have when we go in camera and we're trying to decide, when we have more applicants for a committee, for example, than there are spaces. This is what we do. So the way this mechanism works, we have to do all this in public, which makes it a bit awkward, but it's also, I think, very transparent to the public to see how we think. Councillor East, you got anything to weigh in on this one?
Yeah, extremely hard. Thank you, through your worship. I wanted to point out a couple things that I noticed that were really positive. Okay, obviously, Bob Jeffrey would bring a wealth of knowledge to our table, and judging by his previous experience, he knows how to work well with others as a team. The one thing I really did enjoy about Terry, and he was the only one that spoke to this whole council, was teamwork. To get things done, you need to focus positively and work as a team. That one really, really stood out to me as a very, very positive. Eric, Howie Major, once again, I'm struggling with that one as well, just because he is sitting on committees. He has invested his time and effort into Midland residents, and he's not even a counselor, so he's putting himself forth. So those are the three that I'm really looking at. I really did enjoy the fact that Terry looked at us as a team, and he was the only one that spoke to that. So I think that would be something to look at.
Councillor Bald.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to tell everybody that basically I live on Irwin Street, and there are two families who are, and I'm not sure how to say that, East Indian. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So there's a family called Raj, and there's also a family across the road. And I was so happy to have some people who are different, and they're lovely, very, very good people. And I'm glad that Midland has their, they wanted to live in Midland. I think that one of the families work at the Esso, but I'm not sure about that. They are lovely people. And I do know that Raj was helping Mr. Patel, and I was very happy about signing his 25 signatures. So I still think that Jazz Patel is a very good candidate, and I'm going to try to support him at this point.
I'm not getting the feeling that we're leaning anyway. I can tell you though that Mr. Patel went kind of crazy when it came to signing up. He was knocking on doors. I think he brought in over 100 signatures on his sheet, even though he didn't have to. So these are, I'm telling you, all these candidates, you guys aren't making it easy on us. There's no clear person to move ahead, which is really a testimony to your, to how you presented yourself to us today. So bravo, Councillor Meredith. Able to help us at all here?
Try to help. As difficult it is as this is. So right now on the left and Councillor Ball seems to be going Terry's way, Mr. Condon's way. Councillor East is going Mr. Condon's way. So I'm between Mr. Major and Mr. Condon. So if I could go a third on Mr. Condon's way if we can get 2 more votes for Mr. Condon and push him through. I haven't heard from anybody else as of yet who they would, other than Councillor Bald. So that might help a little bit to get to the next round.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship, to the rest of council. I have been just taking notes because this is an informal year to come to a consensus of at least 5 of you voting for the same person. And from what I've heard from council, the conversation has been between Terry Condon and Jazz Patel. So I don't know if that helps or hurts or confuses more. We need to, before we take this vote, we should have a consensus of 5 of you voting for one so that it can be on the record of who is going to go through to the next round. This isn't necessarily a vote, it's a consensus. You have discussions and try and achieve that magic number of 5 to have the person. And so far, there's been the most discussion between Mr. Terry Condon and Mr. Jazz Patel.
Deputy Mayor, and then over to Councillor Ball.
How many votes are there for Howie Major? Just the one, and the other ones are?
Sorry, just to correct, it's not a vote. This is just a consensus. It's a conversation. I'm just trying to keep track of, as council speaks about different candidates. But the two that have been talked about the most were the two that I had mentioned. And there was one, I believe one member of council that did mention Mr. Major, as well as Bob Jeffrey. Again, the onus is on council. I know it's a difficult situation to be in, but you do need to come to a consensus to have a third candidate go to the final interview process.
Okay, so I can ask councilor if there's, if anybody wants to talk about Howie Major and see where they stand.
Councillor Meredith.
Yeah, I'm with between Howie and Terry. So whatever the consensus is, I will go that way. Which I said before, right? So if there's 4 people that want Terry, then I'll be the 5th, or vice versa, right? So, so that's where I stand with Howie. They're both, and the only reason I came, well, I stated to Terry, because it would have been a tough decision, for me, anyways. So I just thought there was 2 votes here already. So I would help the situation to get to the 3rd round by having the 3rd vote. So it kind of makes my decision a little bit easier that way. But we hadn't heard, well, we heard from Councillor McDonald. Have we heard from Jim yet? Have we heard Councillor Downer? Yes, we have. And so I think everybody has spoken. So we'll just speak some more.
Yeah, until we start leaning, we got to have 5. So if that's what we're talking about, it sounds like there's really only the 2 of us. Or Councillor McDonald, were you still thinking of advancing Mr. Patel, or are we moving on to someone else?
You're torturing me. I'm going to support Mr. Patel. So should we be calling a vote at this time? Then we'll know.
Yeah, it's not really a vote, it's just consensus. So I mean, you know, I'm inclined to support Councillor Patel, or I mean, Mr. Patel for councillor, or for the next round. My goodness, here I'm tripping all over myself. As I believe Councillor Bald is. So that's 3 of us. Effectively, to, you know, decide on that, we need 2 more people that are, you know, think that he's worth hearing from in round 2, more so than Terry or Howie. So I mean, we can clear that up right now. Are there 2 other people that, you know, would like to hear from him instead of Terry or Howie in round 2? Because we can only pick 1 more. You'd be all right with that, Councillor Bell?
Yeah, sorry, that was what I was going to say when I was going to say that I can go either way. I think both of them are candidates that are looking at future growth opportunities. They're keeping in mind not Midland just today, but also in the future. And I think that's what I think is most important for Midland and why I'm here, is I want to see my kids be able to grow up and want to stay here. And I believe that I could go either way on them because I think they have the same mindset and they presented similar ideas. So I have been on board with Terry, but I also think Mr. Patel is a great candidate for that. So if that's the way that we need to go to a consensus, then I will be able to go that way as well.
All right, so that's basically 4. So we need 1 more person that's willing to advance Mr. Patel to round 2. Nope. Yes, no. Otherwise, we're going to do this with each of the other people and see if we can get to a majority number. So, all right, so we're at 4 straw poll with Mr. Patel. So next is Mr. Condon. So we know we have Mr. Condon's support from Councillor Ball. And from Councillor Meredith and Councillor East, there's 3. For Deputy Mayor. Okay, there's 4. Councillor I'm going to do this all day, aren't I? Bob Jeffrey. So we've got 1 in Bob Jeffrey. I too believe he's a great candidate, but obviously I'm leaning this other way for the rationale already shared. So we got 1 for Bob. Okay, so and then we got Howie, the Energizer Bunny. Just keeps going. So for Howie, we got 1, 2. Councillor Ball. Okay, so 2. All right, so there's 2. And then Robert Thorpe is still in here, right? So I really haven't heard much talk about Robert, although he did a great job. Okay, so really this is down now between Terry and Jazz, to be informal, which is usually how we do this. All right, so one of us has got a crack on Terry or Jazz. We're almost there, guys. I can't do my auctioneer voice, but this isn't the hill I'm dying on. I mean, I truly believe Jazz is going to be good, but you know, if for round 2, no one's on the councilor yet. This is just to hear from a round 2. So it's Jazz or Terry. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to remind council again, although it seems like you're voting, the voting will actually take place once you've agreed on the 3 candidates to move forward to the final interview, where you're each going to ask a question. And at that point, you will be voting for 1. This is just to get it down to 3 to move on to the final interview stage. And so far, it's between, the mayor is correct, between Mr. Patel and Mr. Condon.
All right, so we need 1 person to swing one way or the other. So, yep. So it's, yeah. Well, Catherine's, I believe, with me. With me and whatever we're aligned on this one. So it's really Councillor Downer and who else is the other? Roberta's on the Patel side. As weird as this is to say, this is how we talk about it. Patel? Okay, so there we got to 5. All right, so this is where you got to mark your sheet, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to say, now that although we have council has a consensus, we will do the official to show that Mr. Patel will receive the 5 votes, just for the record.
All right, so I'm going to go around the table and just ask for you to identify the person you've marked on your sheet, and I thank council for this really tough. So this is not easy. But we're only talking round 2, so nothing's final yet. And over to the fat guy sings, which I guess is me in this case. All right. Yep.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to confirm, council had the consensus that there were 5 of you that wanted Mr. Patel to move forward to the initial or to the final interview process. So the 5 that are supporting Mr. Patel will say so. The 4 that were supporting Mr. Condon will say so, but this document will just be part of the record.
All right, starting over on my virtual left, Councillor McDonald.
Pardon me. Round 4, Jazz Patel.
Councillor Ball.
Jazz Patel.
Councillor Meredith.
Mr. Terry Condon.
Councillor East.
Mr. Terry Condon.
Councillor Downer.
Mr. Patel.
Councillor Bald.
Mr. Patel.
Deputy Mayor.
Terry Condon.
And Mr. Patel for me.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's official. Mr. Patel will be proceeding to the final round of interviews.
There is democracy in action, folks, and this is exactly how we do things when we're in camera, in case you ever scratch your head going, what are these knuckleheads doing when they're in camera? This, when we got to make some of these decisions. Just typically we rise and report and tell you what the output is. You don't get to hear all of this. So this is how we work together, folks. All right. Congratulations to those who are moving forward. A sincere thanks to those who didn't make it into the next round. And you're, of course, welcome to stay in the room. And Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to say we just need a few minutes. We're going to prepare the official motion that council will vote on to confirm the 3 candidates that are moving forward.
Perfect.
Thank you for your patience.
1:56 now. Do you think 2 o'clock is 4 minutes enough, or do you need longer? So we'll aim for 2-ish. 2-ish. I say 5 minutes usually turns into 8 or 9. So, all right, we're going to flip our cameras off, hit the pause, and we'll be back. Thank you. We're back. Those in virtual land was only a second, but in real land, it was more than my 5 minutes. Sorry about that. Councillor Bald, it looks like your camera is not activating, but you are here nonetheless, so I'll let you work on that IT issue. Maybe try flipping it off and back on again. Anyway, thanks for your patience, folks. We have our new motion that came out of whittling down our 7 able applicants to 3. So moved by Deputy Mayor Prost, seconded by Councillor Ball, that Cody Olszewski, Yvonne Teets, and Jasmine Patel be subject to a full interview right now for the councillor position, and the council thanks the remaining candidates for their interest in the council seat vacancy. I think most of us had an opportunity to do that during our brief break right now. So if there's no discussion, I'll call the question and we'll move on. Oh, Councillor Downer. Oh, good to go. Call the question. Very good. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Way too many papers on my desk today. All right, we are on the final round with our 3 candidates. The final 3 candidates will once again be sequestered in our boardroom upstairs municipal office. No electronics will be permitted. The order of candidate interviews will be determined by lot, as conducted by the clerk, just like last time. Each member of council will ask the candidate 1 predetermined question for a total of 8 questions. Candidates will be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes to respond. Please note, council, you may only ask questions for clarification. The order of council will be determined, council questions will be determined by lot as well, as conducted by the clerk. Once they've completed their interview, the candidates can remain in council chambers. And Madam Clerk, could you please select the first candidate?
Thank you, Your Worship. The first candidate will be Mr. Jas Patel.
There we go. And perhaps if I have IT lurking upstairs watching us, we're having an issue with Councillor Bald's camera. So perhaps someone can come down and help us out, but she is here and all's well. All right, so the other 2 candidates have left the room with Catherine Missouri up to the Dominion room. So I'd now like to welcome Mr. Patel back to the podium. This final interview process will begin with each member of council asking you a question, and you'll be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to each question. We'll be using an audible timer that'll start once you're ready. I'll ask the clerk to call upon the individual members of council, chosen by lot, aka random, to ask their question. Council, do you all have your question on your sheet in front of you, so you know which one you're asking? It's all good? Okay. I'd like to remind you that you have 2 minutes to respond, and the deputy clerk will start the timer when you indicate you're ready. And Madam Clerk will make the first lot selection now.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first member of council will be Councillor East.
Thank you, Sherry, through Your Worship. All right, congratulations on making it this far. The question is, what do you feel are the most important qualities for our council members to possess to work together most effectively to achieve success? Would you like me to read it again?
Could you please?
Yes, of course. So the question is, what do you feel are the most important qualities for our council members to possess, to work together most effectively to achieve success?
So I feel the most important quality is collaboration. So working as a team, understanding each other's differences, and getting to the final result with that collaboration.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will now call upon Deputy Mayor Prost to ask her question.
What would you say is your number one motivation to be a counselor and why?
Thank you for that question. So number one motivator is to represent the diverse community that's growing in our town, but also driving the economic and the cultural experience for Midland, for future, but also today as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The next.
Sorry, I might be wrong, but I have a two-part question. Can I ask the reason why that's important to you? Sorry, I just didn't want to let that go by.
Okay. Because I'm passionate about Midland. I moved here 20 years ago, but I'm constantly engaged of what's going on. When I first moved here, Mr. Downer was our mayor. I always followed him. I always looked up to him for all the work he's done for Midland, Mr. McKay, and then Mr. Stratton after Mr. McKay, and then now Mr. Gordon. So I'm very passionate for the future of Midland, but also what's going on in Midland right now and making sure that we take the right decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Downer.
Mr. Patel, what are the biggest issues for the town of Midland, and what do you see as the challenges that the town as a whole would be facing?
So the recent biggest issues we're facing right now are the Midland Bay Landing, the parking issue, and now the Yonge Street reconstruction. But I think we can work as a team and we can solve all these problems, the parking meters with the ad hoc committee that's going to be formed, the Midland Bay Landing with consultation and public input and working as a council team. Yonge Street, the bike lanes that we'll be discussing to bring it to 4 lanes or keep the bike lanes. So all that, I think, are the biggest issue that we currently face.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, and congratulations for getting to this round. My question is, given there are approximately 2 years left of this term of council, what do you think are the priorities that council should focus on over the balance of this term?
So I think the priorities that we should focus is the Midland Bay Landing and resolving the parking meter issue that are probably our biggest priorities for the next 2 years, I believe. Thank you.
Nope.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Because you have been appointed by council and have not been through the election process, how are you prepared to notify the residents of the town of Midland who you are and that you are ready and able to represent their interests at council?
Because as Mr. Mayor mentioned earlier, Mr. Bill Gordon, our mayor, that our South Asian community represents the fast food restaurants, the hotel industry, as well as the convenience stores. And we're well organized. We have, I guess, I would say we're involved with the community because all the patrons that attend the convenience store, fast food, they have nothing but positive sentiment towards the people that work there or the owners. I'm sure you've probably been to the Subways or the gas station or the convenience store. I'm sure you haven't been to the hotel because as a person who's living in Midland, usually you don't need to unless there's trouble in the house. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald?
My apologies, reaching over the screen. Could you please, can you explain the difference between the role of a member of council versus the role of staff?
So the role for the council is to dream up ideas. Just to kind of put it up as a vague answer, but so the council is to develop policies and determine the services and ensuring accountability and transparency. And the role of the staff is to, I would say, execute these plans and work together and implement these policies. That's the role of the staff and that's the role of the council. Thank you.
Councillor Bald?
Yes, the town of Midland operates under strict policies and procedures under the Municipal Act and other relevant legislation that we must adhere to. Do you have any knowledge or have you been part of a legislative process under these acts?
I don't have any experience, but I have been reading the role of the council and how the council works with the staff and it represents the people of Midland, but also the policymaking role, the stewardship role, and the representative role. Thank you.
Mayor Gordon?
Thank you. Sorry, just get my notes down here. When you need to make an important council or town decision, how would you ensure that you have all the pertinent information using your experience in group dynamics and research?
So based on my business experience, anytime we're making a decision, I talk to our staff first and make sure that decision is not going to make their work life difficult or change in a dramatic manner. And I plan to do that same procedure, not 100%, but to the legal bindings of the council to work with the staff and make sure that common goal is achieved for the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, those are the 8 questions. You're welcome to have a seat in the gallery, and we'll call down the next candidate.
The next candidate will be Cody Olszewski.
Welcome back, Mr. Yashevsky.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations for making it to the second round.
Thank you.
The final interview process will begin with each member of council asking you a question, and you'll be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to each question. We'll be using an audible timer, and we'll start once you're ready. I'll now ask the clerk to call upon individual members of council chosen by lot to ask their question, and remind you have 2 minutes to respond, and the deputy clerk will start the timer when you're ready. Thank you.
Ready when you are.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Because you have been appointed by council and have not been through the election process, how are you prepared to notify the residents of the town of Midland who you are and that you are ready and able to represent their interests at council?
Thank you very much. If the clerk had given me my phone back, the public would already know I made it this far. I'm pretty engaged with the public generally. My social media following allows me to engage with the public regularly, put things out to the public for polls. Obviously, it's just a section of the demographic of the municipality and doesn't represent the whole town, but 5,000 Facebook friends are a pretty good a portion of the population, and I do communicate regularly with them. While I was a councillor, I was very communicative, I felt. And as a resident, I haven't slowed down at all. Still living, wearing the shoes for the job that I want. And yeah, I'd be happy to reintroduce myself to the public as a councillor after this meeting, given the opportunity.
Councillor McDonald.
I apologize, I keep pushing the wrong little square. Can you explain the difference between the role of an member of council versus the role of staff?
Yeah, sure. This is something that I probably struggled with more than most councillors. So council are typically the body of people that listen to the residents, and we're not the action takers. We're the listeners, and we're the people that provide the feedback from that back to staff. In the past, I have kind of jumped the fence and taken over the role of the communications manager, doing social media posts before the municipality had the opportunity to. I've organized community cleanups and stuff or events without working with town event staff. So I've learned my lesson over the years. When I started in this role, I was very young and eager and energetic. I've learned a lot of lessons about staying in my own lane and filling the role as a councillor, and a good one. And that one of your strategic goals is being a good employer. And I think it's imperative that council don't do staff's job for them or attempt to. And I think it's important that we communicate openly with staff about our intentions. Don't try to, plan events and do things without the blessing of staff and full knowledge of capacity of staff. And I've learned a lot over the years. So finding that hard line between being a councillor and a staff member is something I've struggled with, to be completely honest, but I'll work hard to stay in my lane and do it enthusiastically.
Deputy Mayor Prost.
What would you say your number one motivation, or what would you say is your number one motivation to be a councillor, and why?
I love this question. This is, I knew I wanted to be a councillor before I was even old enough to be one. And in school, I was always the guy that shot people down when they said there's nothing to do in Midland. And that our youth still say it. And we have such a great, vast selection of parks and free resources and beautiful bodies of water and things that, people can access. I forgot the question.
I'll help you.
Thank you.
I messed it up the first
What's my
time.
motivation for being a counselor? So in high school, I got on the student council, and I tried to steer the world that way and convince people that MSS was a great place to be at the time and that Marauders were the leaders of the world. And I've always been a big team player, and I've been very proud to be part of Team Midland. Even started the branding with Team Midland and worked with Flooded Studios to create the Team Midland jerseys that we all once wore. Councillor McDonald, the late Councillor George McDonald, and late Deputy Mayor Jack Conton were proud wearers of these Team Midland jerseys. So that's a legacy I started, and a brand I'm very proud of. If I had a tattoo on my body, it would be the Midland logo. And my number one motivation is being a representative of the community. I think I do a very good job staying in touch with the community. And my motivation is to get back into my seat and pick up where I left off, being a positive role model for the community and for your young people and old alike.
Councillor Downer?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ochevsky. What are the biggest issues for the town of Midland? What do you see as the challenges that the town as a whole would be facing?
Sure, I think all the residents would agree. Taxation is probably our biggest issue, and I think council would probably agree too, that it's the biggest struggle. Every time we get to budget, we see numbers we don't like and struggle to get them down. I think Midland Bay Landing is obviously the low-hanging fruit for that. I think getting that, I know you guys have moved it to your front burner. I was at the meeting here last week when you guys did that, which is great to see. Hoping to get a deal for the Midland Bay Landing development. It'll help the BIA extend the downtown merchants through that area. We'll add some property tax relief. We'll add some new attractions for people to come and see. I think that is the low-hanging fruit for Midland Bay Landing, and I think that will help our taxation problem.
Councillor East?
Thank you, and congratulations on making it to the next round, Cody. My question is, what do you feel are the most important qualities for our council members to possess to work together most effectively to achieve success?
I think politics can be kind of cold. It's hard on a person, you know. You don't get a lot of calls thanking you for their hard work that you do, and you get a lot of calls for the contrary. So I think being able to absorb that and translate it into a positive message, something constructive. I think teamwork within the group, being a good employer starts with council. That's one of your strategic goals. I think showing the public that you can get along, you can work well together on different initiatives. None of your priorities outweigh anybody else's priorities. Everybody's here for the strategic plan and make all your decisions based on it. And I think it's important that nobody try to be the outstander or outlier or the hero on council. We all work together as a team. Credit goes back to the corporation, to staff who do the hard work, and we're just here to vote. And it's very important to me.
Councillor Bald?
Thank you. The town of Midland operates under strict policies and procedures under the Municipal Act and other relevant legislation to which we must adhere. Do you have any knowledge or have you been part of a legislative process under these acts?
Sure. So I'm definitely familiar with the Municipal Act. Attended AMO every year that I was a councillor to further educate myself. These AMO events and other municipal events tend to be a bit of a party. And I've grown up a lot since my last term of council, quit drinking alcohol, really focused on life and bettering myself every day, becoming smarter, stronger, faster every single day. The Municipal Act is something that that's our Bible. It's something that we have to live by every day. Next time I go to AMO, given the opportunity, I would love to buckle down, learn much more, make better connections and all that stuff with a clear mind. And yeah, very familiar with the Municipal Act. I've obviously served as a councillor for 8 years without any issues through integrity, minus the one little COVID blip that we had for my mom's 60th birthday. But aside from that, I respect the Municipal Act. I live by it and happy to continue doing that given the opportunity.
Councillor Meredith?
Congratulations for making it to this round, Cody. So given that there are approximately 2 years left of this term of council, what do you think are the priorities that council should focus on over the balance of this term?
I think you guys are doing a great job. I think continue on the road you're on. I've been following very closely, as you've seen. I've been here in these seats during the council meetings. It was good to see last week you brought the prime projects forward. I'm certainly not getting in trying to change the path of the ship. I'm fully on board with the Midland Bay Landing development and getting some of these developments built out. I know there's aggressive pressure from upper levels of government for us to build some housing and get some developments realized. Anything we can do in our power to help developers get some housing built is important. I think the proposition from Habitat for Humanity for the tiny homes are something that are low-hanging fruit, something that should be looked at by this council. I approached the mayor about approaching the industrial companies in town. All the factories in town are struggling to hire skilled trades right now. So maybe there's an opportunity where industry could put up some money, some seed money to build some homes to recruit some skilled tradespeople to the area, similar to how we did with physician recruitment in the past through Gordon McKay and other members. It's a struggle that all the factories seem to be having, and EDCNS used to do a pretty good job of hosting roundtables at the factories, and it doesn't seem like that's happening anymore. So all the different industries in this town, and this has been an industrious town for decades, they're all struggling, and they're all having the same issues hiring people. We didn't have that issue here today. So yeah, I think collectively we can work together on tiny home development is a good low-hanging fruit priority. I think the youth committee is another low-hanging fruit that we've talked about far too long. There's an external person that's running with youth committee right now. I think we can jump on and have a North Simcoe solution. So I'm very eager to be involved. Whether this is successful or not, I plan to be involved in that.
Mayor Gordon.
Thank you. When you need to make an important council or town decision, how would you ensure that you have all the pertinent information using your experience in group dynamics and research?
So one thing that I would pride myself on is reading reports. There's a lot of reading when it comes to being a counselor, and it's hard to absorb all the information. There's hundreds of pages. If you include the council information packages, there's tons of reading material. If you don't have a good printer at home and lots of ink and some good toilet time, it's almost impossible to get through all these documents, especially a lot of counselors work full time. And it's really tricky trying to balance that and have families at home and all that good stuff. The long and short of it is I read agendas start to finish, even as a resident. I attend these meetings as a knowledgeable resident and come to see how you guys vote on them. I bounce things off the public through social media. I take that for what it's worth. I understand it's a demographic of the public, but not a good consensus of the actual public, and work with my fellow counselors. I don't believe in making decisions before you get to the council table, before you've read the reports and had the conversation with fellow counselors. But I do feel there's value in seeing the viewpoints of other counselors prior to the meeting. And just the long and short, read all my reports, read my council information package, and attend meetings.
Thank you very much. Feel free to have a seat in the body of the
Thank you for
gallery, I think it's called there. Sorry, I'm having a brain gap.
Thank you, Worship.
And we'll draw our last person. Guess who that might be?
The next candidate will be Yvonne Teets.
Welcome back, Ms. Teets. I'd like to welcome you back to our podium. The final interview process will begin with each member of council asking you a question, and you will be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to each question. We'll be using an audible timer that will start once you're ready. I'll ask the clerk to call upon individual members chosen by lot to ask their question and remind you have 2 minutes to respond, and Deputy Clerk will start the timer when you're ready. Thank you.
Councillor Downer.
There we go. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What are the biggest issues for the town of Midland, and what do you see as the challenges that the town as a whole would be facing?
I find that the challenges that the town, that we're looking at with the town, we are the highest taxed in Simcoe County. I'm feeling from a lot of citizens who have contacted me because I'm part of the Our Midland Facebook group. So they reach out to me and they wonder what we can do as a whole to actually reduce taxes. I actually review the budget deliberation agendas between 300 to 400 pages each year. And while reviewing that, I try to see if there's any way that with the citizens that I talk to, what type of items that we can maybe do without, reduce line items, and a lot of them basically say that we need to cut costs. And my the way I see it is that we can actually try and cut more costs when it comes to people. People are facing a really terrible situation right now with everything being inflated. And if we can try and cut the taxes, I'm sure a lot of other people would be in a better situation. During COVID, when the shops and everything was closed, everybody faced a huge dilemma. So everybody's trying to recoup from that, and they're still going through that issue. So yeah, I believe if we can try and cut costs in any way possible, taxes being one of them, we can put the money back into the people's pockets, and then they can spend the money in our downtown and in our beautiful town. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Prost.
What would you say is your number one motivation to be a counselor and why?
My motivation, basically it stemmed over 7 years ago. I was passionate about what our town actually brings. We were fighting a battle with Edge Hill Park, and we saw a lot of people gathered together and wanting to try and save our parks. I'm finding that sorry, with all the ums, the sorry. If I can have you read that again.
Sure. What would you say is your number one motivation to be a counselor and why?
Okay. The motivation is the people, working well with them, communicating with them. And it's not just the actual counselors. You need to get involved with the counselors and let them know your wants and needs in the community. Also, I think we're missing a big part of, I would like to see a citizens group whereby we can communicate with the actual people. That communication is very, very important, but also getting our children involved. I've gotten my daughter involved. She's 30 years old, but she now watches the meetings with me. She comes down and takes part in those meetings, but I don't feel our youth are partaking in the development that we need to, and getting the information out there about, watching the meetings, getting more involved, finding out how they can actually be part of this community in a very positive manner and lead with goals and aspirations of even being a counselor one day, being a mayor one day. If we can try and get our children more involved by even just watching the meetings, it actually will help them grow.
Thank you. That's your time. We need to be really strict about that.
Councillor East.
Thank you, and congratulations for making it this far, Yvonne.
Thank you.
The question as follows: what do you feel are the most important qualities for our council members to possess to work together most effectively to achieve success? You want me to read it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. What do you feel are the most important qualities for our council members to possess to work together most effectively to achieve success?
I believe the most important qualities that counselors can lead with success is communication. In actually watching all the meetings, and I do watch every meeting. I do attend council meetings. I do attend committee and board meetings. What I like to see is that the communication is there. And speaking out and letting your voices be heard. What I'm finding is maybe not everybody is on the same wavelength, but that you can communicate well to get your ideas and thoughts understood with one another. But communication is completely ideal. It's the actual most important thing that you can have being a counselor.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Because you have been appointed by council and have not been through the election process, how are you prepared to notify the residents of the town of Midland who you are and that you are ready and able to represent their interests at council?
How I would go about letting people know, so the constituents of Midland, that I've become counselor, is one of them is the our Midland Facebook page. We gain about 5,400 followers. We have a lot of communication on there. I would also, my complete passion has been, and my whole volunteering of myself has been for the last 10 years with council. I have been at these meetings. I have been at not just the council meetings, but boards and committees. And in talking with people, they know who I am. They know that I am the voice of our Midland. I've gone into stores and talked with, Sheldon about the situation when we were looking for people to run. I went up and I was talking with them. So I go out to the community and I talk to people and let them know who I am, what I've done, and where we can go to be a better town. But at every approach that I have, every single time I talk to people and let them know how we can do things better, get involved. My passion has been completely to actually work behind the scenes and be the voice of our Midland and let them know what is going on in our little world in Midland. And I'm very proud of Midland and what Midland has to offer. So by going out and talking with them, meeting up with them at any given point in time, I would be more than honored to do that.
Councillor Bald.
Yes, thank you. The town of Midland operates under strict policies and procedures under the Municipal Act and other relevant legislation to which we must adhere. Do you have any knowledge or have you been part of a legislative process under these acts?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. The town of Midland operates under strict policies and procedures under the Municipal Act and other relevant legislation to which we must adhere. Do you have any knowledge or have you been part of a legislative process under these acts?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe I've been a beacon of information to the town, to the people on our Midland Facebook page, to friends, family, colleagues. I don't believe I would have anything that would interfere with that. No.
Thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Teets. Can you explain the difference between the role of a member of council versus the role of staff? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Can you explain the difference between the role of a member of council versus the role of staff?
The role of member of council is to embody the information that you get from your constituents. You go out, you get voted by the people who put you in place. You are their voice, their thoughts, opinions. You communicate with them, and you bring those voices to council at any given point in time that you find that their voices need to be heard. As for staff, staff offer support to council. They actually do reports. So council will, and I know this because I've been in so many meetings, council will ask staff to create reports so that reports will be actually done. The investigation will be done by staff, and then that information will get back to council where council actually will have that voice and bring it forward to council to either create bylaws or reports to fulfill that obligation. They are very intricate parts. Both of them need to work together cohesively, and you need to be able to make sure that it's a good environment that you can both communicate with and be able to get the information that you need. So as a counselor, you would go to staff, ask for what is needed, pick their brains basically, and come back to council to bring your thoughts and ideas at that time.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, and congratulations for making it to this round.
Thank you.
Ms. Teets. My question is, given that there are approximately 2 years left of this term of council, what do you think are the priorities that council should focus on over the balance of this term?
The priorities that I believe that council should focus on would be to reduce taxes. You would have the constituents have continuously asked to reduce taxes to make sure that you can run the business within tightening the belt. I believe it can be done. I believe it can be fiscally done. And I believe that as a whole, everybody's thoughts and ideas on council can work together to try and get to that resolution. Some items that are on the budgets at certain times may not need to be done at this particular time, but can be put off for another year or two. At that time, it would actually reduce costs, reduce taxes to the public, and the residents would be much more happy in having lower taxes, but knowing that council is working together as a team to get those costs reduced. And I know you guys, and I'm sorry, you guys, you do that well. The communication is there, and these the budgets that have been 300 to 400 pages are very timely to go through. But to see what you've been given and how you actually cut those costs is really commendable. I think it can be done even tighter, but I'd like to bring those ideas forth so that we can really work together as a team. And I believe that we can get there and reduce the costs and taxes and have the community as a whole really appreciate what the work is being done on council. So yeah, I do commend you guys for going through 300 to 400 pages at deliberations, because I do it myself every single year and I know how much involvement there is in the background. So thank you.
Mayor Gordon.
Thank you. When you need to make an important council or town decision, how would you ensure that you have all the pertinent information using your experience in group dynamics and research?
Could you repeat that, please?
Absolutely, yep. When you need to make an important council/town decision, how would you ensure that you have all the pertinent information using your experience in group dynamics and research?
I have pretty much been doing this for the last 7 to 10 years. So finding facts, factual information, and I do not, and I will not put out information unless it is factual and everybody pretty much knows who I am with that. Investigating, taking hours and hours and hours of investigation, looking for information, talking to people, getting perspectives of different people's views, involvement in people. I believe it's very important to really get all aspects of people's information and then proceed with whatever ideas that you come in with at that time. Now, I can only touch upon my own personal views, because my dad, who's German, came from Germany back in the 60s, and I have his devotion and his knowledge and his whereabouts to make sure that you follow through with stuff. The German blood in me just kind of sort of make sure that I can tackle that stuff. And with my other heritage of Métis, I volunteer with the Georgian Bay Métis Council, with the food hampers. So I've been able to actually go and get information where need be, communicate with the different levels of involvement. So if there's different organizations that you need the information from, go get that information. I've been also able to I don't just stick with Midland politics. I'm probably just a political, I don't know what you call it, just really into the politics, but I listen to Midland, Penetang, and Tay Tiny.
All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Feel free to have a seat, and council will deliberate. So we're going to take we'll just take a quick 5-minute bio break just to digest, and then we'll be back. I'm going to try and hit it. It's 3 o'clock exactly. I don't know how we're nailing these almost perfect numbers. So let's diligently try and be back for 3:05. All right, welcome back, everybody, after our 5 minutes, well, 8 minutes. All right, so council, you've been provided voting forms on desk, and I now ask that you choose your candidate of choice. Not an easy choice. The order of council will be determined by a lot, as conducted by the clerk. When called upon by the clerk, please verbally state your choice and ensure your voting form is signed. I will ask the clerk to tabulate the votes as they are cast and to read the results once voting is completed. The successful candidate will require 5 votes, which is 50% plus 1, and voting will continue until that number is achieved. In the case of a 4-4 tie, a tie-break vote will be taken, and if the tie remains, the tie will be broken by selection of a candidate by a lot as conducted by the clerk. And I've been told, don't make her do that. So, but that is our policy, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So please mark your X, and Madam Clerk, maybe just give us 30 seconds and then you can start calling randomly.
Is council ready to cast their votes? Okay, we will start with Councillor Meredith.
I vote for Ms. Yvonne Teets.
Councillor McDonald,
I cast my vote for Cody Olszewski.
Councillor Bald,
Jazz Patel,
Councillor East,
I have to go for Yvonne.
Councillor East, could you repeat and say the full name? Thank you.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor Downer,
Jazz Patel.
Councillor Ball,
Yvonne Teets.
Deputy Mayor Prost,
Yvonne Teets.
and Mayor Gordon.
Jazz Patel.
Just take a moment to look at the results. The candidate with the most votes was Yvonne Teets with 4, Jazz Patel with 3, and Cody Olszewski had 1. We will now do another vote with the 2 candidates with the highest number. We just have to prepare the documents, so we just need a minute.
Okay, council, while we're waiting for the new document to come, this is where we had discussion last time in order to try and get our consensus on this. So your consensus is your vote. So this would be the opportunity to compare and contrast each of the remaining 2 candidates. And I'm prepared to start, or I'm happy to yield the floor to someone else who'd like to. All right, mic's on already. So, all right, so we have our 2 remaining candidates in Jazz Patel and Yvonne Teets. Both able, both clearly made it through this far, which has inspired a lot of confidence with this council. So for that, both of you need to be very proud. I'd just like to summarize the notes that I took during your Q&A session in round 2. And then I use this to justify effectively why one of you, I believe, is better suited based on what I'm hearing today. I'm going to do this in no particular order. So I'm going to start with Yvonne, who I've known for quite some time. Yvonne, when asked what the biggest issue was that faced Midland, there was a singular answer, and that being high taxes. While I don't disagree that high taxes are something that plagues our whole country, and it's certainly something we can always aspire to lower, to a large degree, a lot of these decisions are out of our hands because of the economy and the cost of goods and the cost of the service delivery that we exist to provide. So dwelling solely on reducing tax rates is what builds deficits. And I think we just saw that in the provincial budget that was just announced, record-setting deficit, and abandoning resources, income streams like that little, license plate tag that no one really cared about paying for. We're losing $1 billion or more on that program. So there's just an example where sometimes you can cut taxes, basically cut your nose off to spite your face, be penny wise but pound foolish. So while I agree that that is definitely an issue that this council is working towards, I don't see it as being the singular issue. I compare that with Mr. Patel's answer, and that the biggest issues facing our community and challenges right now, and he listed off the biggies: Midland Bay Landing and the future development and the income and the recreational asset that is going to become for our community, as well as an income stream. Parking being a very, very big real issue downtown. The Yonge Street reconstruction and getting it right the first time. And making sure that this council continues in its spirit of collaboration, teamwork, and consultation. Those are all things I wanted to hear, and I heard them from Mr. Patel. And I'm not saying that Ms. Teets doesn't share those beliefs, but she didn't communicate them in response to that question. And I have to go by that, because that is what is in front of me right now. Motivation to run for council. Although I know Yvonne quite well, and certainly I believe I know what her motivation to run for council is. She wasn't able to articulate that to us. At least it was very unclear as I was trying to parse it out of her response. And that matters when we're doing an A/B comparison, which we are now down to doing. The reason for running for council for Mr. Patel were primarily these priorities, helping us achieve these priorities like Midland Bay Landing and parking, getting things right, and being a voice on council, and also being that bridge between a community that most of us know nothing about other than it exists around us, that being the South Asian community. And I equated that earlier in my support in that that's very much like our late Deputy Mayor's ability to break the bridge to the Indigenous community. So again, when weighing the answers, even though I know in my mind why Yvonne is wanting to be on council, she wasn't able to articulate that to us. And that's what I'm judging things on right now, are the answers to these 8 questions. And that's the rules we set up for this. Qualities in councilors. Communications was the singular response from Yvonne about what makes a good quality in a councilor. While I agree that is very important, that can't be, qualities. That can't be the only quality that makes a councilor. Clearly, communications is a big part of that, but even for councilors that aren't terribly good or extroverted, and I'll use Councillor Bald as an example, not the most extroverted person that I know, right? Much more of an introvert, and relies on the communications mechanisms in our staff and the town to communicate. And then you have Big Mouth here that is on every possible social media thing and hosting websites and yip yapping, and you can't get me to shut up half the time. So we're very different animals, but I don't think that makes me any better or more qualified than someone who, maybe doesn't subscribe to being the chatty Cathy or the chatty Chad, whatever the equivalent is, on council. So again, I'm trying to do A/B comparisons in what was shared with us. Legislative experience, neither really has legislative experience, and that's fair because, again, majority of council got voted in with none, and you've been able to figure it out in the past year and a bit through your own hard work, and I would expect any new councillor would do the same, and we would help them. They have the benefit of a fairly well-seasoned council now to help them along. So that one doesn't really weigh me one way or the other. The staff council relationship, a very important question. the governance model that constrains council to governance decisions and not operational decisions is very important. And straying over that line gets you in trouble, not only with your staff, undermines them, but also with your constituents who know sometimes better than we do what our role is. And, you know, I learned that the hard way too, as, you know, Cody Oshevsky has as well. We both have been a little over exuberant in our ability to champion things and go hands-on when that's not really our role as elected officials. So again, it wasn't clear to me that Yvonne really grasps that the governance operational delineation, although I believe she knows that. She wasn't able to articulate that to us when asked that question. Whereas apparently Jazz read the manual, which I did post for everybody when I was advertising this on a website, saying you might want to read this handbook on how to be a municipal councillor. It's pretty clear to me that he did, because he cited quite accurately what that relationship is and the clear delineation between governance and operations, which that's a very, very important trait. Not saying that Yvonne doesn't have it, but she wasn't able to articulate that, which calls into question whether she really grasps that or not, where Chaz was able to articulate that. Priorities. Again, reduction of taxes. Although, again, important, but we can't have that singular focus. If all we're going to do is cut taxes, we're cutting services. And that's the whole reason this municipality exists in the first place, is to provide services. So, although again, I believe there is more, I believe she believes there's more than that. That was the singular focus in the response. And that makes it challenging for me when I face a response by, you know, the other candidate who clearly addresses the issues about the decision-making processes, the financial challenges we're faced on service delivery, and our big projects that we have to get over the finish line. Kind of last but not least is the attributes. Jazz was clear to mention collaboration and representing the diversity within our community, which, you know, we all try and do to some degree, but when you're not actually from a community, all you can really be is an ally. And that's not to take away from being an ally, people. That is important, but certainly if you're from the community, you can represent it in a way that is unique. Being passionate and engaged, I believe both are. Both of them are looking for a better future in Midland, so I see them on equal ground there. But in my basic summary of the notes I took during the Q&A session, you know, I believe Mr. Patel clearly tips the scales when it comes to understanding what's needed in this role. And consequently, I will, in the next round, be casting my vote again for Mr. Patel, with all things being equal. Council, who would else like to weigh in on? Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. And I'd like to first say to Ms. Yvonne Teets that, and I don't disagree with her about cutting taxes. That was my campaign, one of my campaigns, and the spending that Town of Midland what was happening, and some of your campaign promises to Mayor Gordon were along that same lines of looking into certain agencies and boards and seeing what we could do. So I'm on the same path. I've been sitting in this chair for 1.5 years and gone through the budget processes, stuff that I can speak of, stuff that I can't speak of because I'm bound by it. But there is a tremendous amount of room to be more efficient, cut, and still provide the services that we provide today. So when, and I believe, you know, if I was standing at that podium, I wouldn't have made it to this third round. I am not a good public speaker. I get a little nervous, forget things. So just because she didn't touch on certain things, Midland Bay Landing was a huge election issue that she spoke freely of and openly about it. She didn't mention it here, but you know, you forget things when you get to the podium. These are questions that you don't know that, you know, that they're coming. So I wouldn't do well in it. So I'm not taking that into account as you are, Mayor Gordon. Yvonne has been here, she said, 10 years. She follows the budget like a Bible. She's a wealth of information. She'd be an asset to sit up here. Not saying that Mr. Tala wouldn't be either, but you know, I voted for Yvonne, and I'm gonna, you know, I know what she's about. So I fully support her. My vote will be casted towards her. And I don't think we should judge it just primarily on what she had at the podium or what she didn't say. She has spoke through social media on issues that Midland has had. One of the main reasons I ran to get a seat up here, you know, were the issues. So I fully think she would be an asset to sit up here and help us to not only cut the taxes, like she says, to give breathing room to our citizens, but to not you know, reduce our service level. It can be done. These are hard, tough business decisions that have to be done, and they can be accomplished. And if we bring her on board, I'm sure that with her knowledge, we can accomplish that.
Councillor East.
Here, Your Worship. All of you, all three of you actually really spoke very well today. I'm not going to base my judgments or my vote on how you did at the podium. I'm going to back it up a little bit to our CAO. When we had an opportunity to vote for CAOs, we had a gentleman come up. He was extremely well educated, almost too well educated, to the point where he was selling us something. And our little Rhonda came up, extremely nervous. She did so well, but she kept kind of having these little ums, but she fought through it. And this is a perfect example of standing at a podium and getting nervous and forgetting some very important things. So for me, I know personally Yvonne. Did I do something wrong?
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to remind East that the CAO process was closed session, so we shouldn't be talking about it in open session.
So, sorry. Now back to where I was saying though. What I'm looking for is somebody that's going to work together as a teammate for me. And I can personally say that she's helped me get through this year immensely, my first year of council, my first year and a half. She dives into education. And the thing is that she can find the facts, and it's not just a point of wanting to make Midland a better place, but she's actually been doing this on her own time for many years, spearheading the courage that it takes to fight to make Midland a better place. The thing that I really loved about Yvonne was that she was very humble. She came up here grateful for the opportunity and very humble. That's where I feel people are missing the mark. We don't need more arrogance. What we need up here is teamwork. And what we need is to have somebody that's really willing to work hard. Now, I'm not saying that anybody else was arrogant. Please don't get that wrong. But what I look for is humbleness in somebody. Because to me, that humble person can work well with others. So for me, I really feel that even though you struggled up there, but I've seen it. I get nervous. I'll never forget my first couple of meetings where I was stumbling. I think even the media beat the heck out of me because I was so nervous. But I see and I know that you also have the same values about Midland Bay Landing, about parking, about guest house shelter, homeless. You are on board with making Midland a better place, and you've been actually fighting for this for many years. So for me, I really respect you, sir. But I see the amount of hard work that Yvonne has put behind the scenes for over a decade. So she will be getting my vote.
Deputy Mayor.
Well, Councillor East and Councillor Meredith just took every word out of my mouth. I will definitely be staying with Yvonne Dietz.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I actually was hoping for more well-rounded answers from both candidates. I think that Midland Bay Landing parking and the Yonge Street reconstruction are not all the issues that we face up here. I think that they are issues that we have just been recently talking about. So that makes me wonder how long Mr. Patel has been following what we've been doing. And I hopefully would like to see that there were other issues. I know that Yvonne also only brought up taxes. I would have liked to hear more from both of them because I feel like these four issues are not just what we're facing or have faced. That being said, I know that Yvonne follows all of Midland, Penetang, Tay, Tiny. She follows all of those council meetings. She spoke about it briefly here, but she does know all the issues. So I did wish that you brought up a little more than that, but I know you know the issues. You do follow every meeting, like religiously is a good word for it because you are here. And I think that what I like to see in you here is that you have been here the whole time. So I have seen your face. We all have seen your face the entire time because you've been here for Midland residents. You've been in active discussions with all of us, I'm sure, over this entire year and a half. So to me, you're here for Midland residents, and that's what we're voting for. So that's why you have my vote. Mr. Patel, I do think that you would be an asset to council. I liked your driving for our economic future. I liked that. I also like that you've researched the role here. And I really actually highlighted that you said common goal achieved for public interest when working with staff and council. I really appreciate that and underlined it. So I think both of you are an asset, but I know that Yvonne has been here and on past councils, and she has been following it and following all of the issues in all of the townships. So I think for Midland, she has the vast amount of knowledge to bring what Midland residents have been asking for and want. So that's where my vote is lying.
Councillor Downer.
Thank you, Your Worship. All three candidates impressed me very much. And it's a very, very hard decision to make. I'm gonna stick with Mr. Patel because he's a businessman. He's in tune with what's happening, the economy. He's in the mix, and he impressed me more than the other two people, and that's why I'm staying with Mr. Patel. I think he would be the best candidate, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bald.
Yes, I can agree with Mr. Downer. I believe that Mr. Patel would be the better person to step onto our meetings here, and I'm hoping that we will resolve the issue here because we're equal at this point. Thank you.
Well, we haven't heard from Councillor McDonald yet, so we don't know if we're at that point yet. The dreaded 4-4 tie. Councillor McDonald, perhaps you can put this to bed.
Thank you. As it's been mentioned, all three candidates were passionate. They delivered their message. And I'm not as familiar with Yvonne's criticism and her not criticism, being a critic and absorbing all our actions as many as others. I've just been introduced to her recently, and I've never heard of jazz. But what I am going to throw my support behind Mr. Patel, because I like the fact he mentioned the diversity. He's well organized, collaboration, getting results. He thinks that he nailed the answer to me. You can't count how when I asked the difference between a council member and staff, council members introduce ideas and staff execute them. And he's mentioned the economic future. He's well organized, as I mentioned, and he'll have different ideas. You had mentioned, Mayor Gordon, how he was flexible when the accommodation tax was introduced. He learned that and wasn't ashamed to change his mind. And I think that's very important. I've been known to do that myself. So Mr. Patel has my support.
Thank you. So based on what I'm hearing, we have a tie. I mean, we haven't cast the ballot yet, but we have a tie. Which, you know, if we can't break this impasse, means they go into the fishbowl, which is, you know, maybe that's the easy way out for council, but it's not the way that, you know, the clerk would really like to see this end. So I'm in your hands. I mean, we're going to put an X on the paper and submit it, and there's going to be one person's got more than the other, and that's the end of this today. So I guess the question I ask to you is, you know, this is the hill you want to die on question. We're at an impasse, council. So somebody's got to give, and we got to, we can go around again with the merits of the people, but I believe we've done that. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship. I think the best way to proceed would be to cast the vote now, even though you think it's a tie. We'll have a record of that, then have discussion. We'll do another vote, and if it's a tie again, then that's a different discussion.
All right, council, mark your X, please, beside your candidate, based on what we've been talking about now, and we'll run the process. And Madam Clerk, you can call the question.
Deputy Mayor Prost.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor East.
Yvonne Tates.
Councillor Meredith.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor Bald.
Jazz Patel.
Councillor Downer.
Jazz Patel.
Councillor Ball.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor McDonald.
Jazz Patel.
Mayor Gordon.
Jazz Patel.
The vote is tied. So at this point, council can have further discussions, deliberations to try and get to a consensus of having one of the candidates with 5 votes. And when you're ready to vote again, let me know. We'll take another vote and see if the tie can be broken this way.
Well, I guess I can take another kick at the can here. Again, both great candidates. And again, I've known Yvonne for a long time. And as she alluded to, I kind of trusted her, I mean, out of necessity, because you have to stop being the, you know, the critic on the other side of the table when you're elected. You got to put all that behind you. It's a very different game on this side of the table. So on election night 2018, I removed myself as admin from that group that I founded, primarily to fight Edgehill Park. I got that in there for Derek. Knew I'd find a way, buddy. That was the end of it for me. Walked away. So if Ms. Teets is successful, I don't know that there's anybody waiting in the wings to pass it off to that has the, oh, perhaps there is. Okay, that's good, because it would be a shame to see it vaporize, because it does a lot of good. But that being said, my perspectives this term, and even though I was quite an outspoken critic before being elected about a variety of issues that don't bear bringing up now, I don't, since, I came into office as a former member of that group, I still see a lot of criticism levied at this council and the town, or posts that basically allude to the fact that something improper is happening here when that isn't the case. And I guess fanning the flames of, people's discomfort with municipal government. Now, to be fair, that was me. I had different reasons for doing it at the time and different issues. But I guess, again, I need to weigh both sides of the equation here. If cutting taxes is our only thing we're supposed to do as a council, then, it sounds like she's the one. And if we're looking at service delivery and controlling our spending and, building a bridge to a community that's growing in our community that, quite frankly, she can't represent, then I really believe that, bringing someone in who's part of a visible minority, that's not the only qualification, but that's, it's a big one. It's one of the reasons why, I got talking to Mr. Patel. I believe that it's a missing link, and I think it's something that's very important to this council's decision-making, bringing a perspective that isn't a critic's perspective, but a team builder's perspective. And I believe Yvonne would continue to do the good work that she does, being critical of us and holding us to account. And I don't think the community would be any worse off either way. So, I truly, there's a reason why I've been steadfast in my support for Mr. Patel. I truly believe that he's going to bring the necessary and requisite different voices, views, and opinions, especially of a culture that none of us really understand, that's going to really help our decision-making, especially for a subculture in our community that is growing right below, in front of us, that we don't have any connection to. So I really think it's important. Obviously, it would be better if the electors, were doing this, but not for $100,000+. So, my hope is that we will bring this diversity to our council and not really another financial scrapper, because honestly, we have that in Councillor Meredith. He does a great job at it. He's not alone in that area, but he does a good job at it. And I don't know that we really need that. I think what we really need is, what Mr. Patel would bring to council, which is why I've been steadfast in my support and why I'm speaking the way I am about him as a particular candidate in this case. So it's not that, Ms. Teets would be a bad councillor. I don't believe that for a second. But I do believe that, when weighing the two, what's the better outcome for this council and the big decisions we have in front of us this term? I think we owe it to that community, if nothing else, to bring a leader from their community, to bring out that different view and perspective to council table, and someone who's intelligent, articulate, educated, and is connected with that community that we don't have connections with is, I think, a good decision for council to make. And let the voters decide in 3 years from now whether they agreed with us and send them back. And maybe some of us not. So that's really all I can say. I don't have any new information and I don't want to beat this around, but I know we need to get past this impasse. So these are the rationales why I'm asking at least one of you to reconsider. Deputy Mayor.
I just want to make it very clear. My vote is for Yvonne Teets. The reason I don't really have a full reason for not voting for Jas Patel, and it certainly is not because of his ethnic background. I don't think anybody should be placed anywhere unless they've earned it or majority wants them. And that could be you, Mr. Patel, if that's what happens. It has nothing to do, certainly for me, and I think I can speak for the rest of council. It has nothing to do with that. I don't think we should place people to show something. I think we're all humans, and I don't care if you're red, yellow, black, or white. If you're meant to be here, if that's how it turns out today, I want you to know that. And I certainly don't support bringing somebody in for that reason.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. One of the, going back to the election 2022, I believe all the newbies that came up that were elected, we were criticizing the town of Midland. So we were criticizing on different viewpoints. Mine were different than other councillors. Majority taxes, transparency, not being able to stand up at the mic and have a deputation, my God-given right to do that, and I'm denied. So yeah, we criticize. That's how and if no one on council is here to hear our voices, then our next step is to come here and be in this seat and hold true to their word on the election promises they made. It does not, this is where it gets political. You get in your seat, and next thing you know, all those promises are out the window, which is not why I ran, and I will continue to hold to my promises. So, one of those major promises was cutting taxes. Now, do we cut? Yes, we cut. Do we cut more than or do we cut as much as I'd like? No, we don't, because there is a vote, and the majority gets that vote. So I fight for the people, and I listen to them. I see their struggles, and I see the spending. So that's just one area, but that doesn't mean, Yvonne her whole package is about cutting taxes, because you heard me at this budget. I was cutting quite a bit, but did a lot get cut? No. Fire got their wishes. A lot of departments got their full asks, right? So it's we fight up, or we discuss up here. We go back and forth. We have discussions, and we come out to our 4% tax hike, and everybody goes home and sleeps it off, and then we're ready to get to work and see, okay, how are we going to improve the town of Midland? So I don't want to take anything from Yvonne, right, in this situation. But yeah, Mr. Patel, he's new to this area, knows a lot, educated, very well in business, absolutely, and he may be a good fit up here as well. But I know that from midland.ca, from getting to know Yvonne, the history of her, and knowing what's going on around the communities around here, Simcoe County, and that is an effort that speaks to me volumes. So to say that she criticizes, well, it's every resident criticizes the town. Right? Just like we look at the US politics, and how are we criticizing that? Right? So if you're in the political field, you criticize, and you come up here and you try to make a difference, right? And take yourself out of that political ball and just bring it back to normal living, if you could, and try to keep the politics out of it. It's tough, right? We are handcuffed here at the majority of the decisions to cut taxes. So if you think Yvonne's going to come up here and start getting, to a 0% tax rate, like I thought I could, bad chance. There's no way you're going to do it. So I'm not threatened by that, but I do think that she would be an asset to this council, just from her knowledge and being able to putting the time in just to get the information is a godsend. So thank you.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. And I believe Mr. Patel said he's been here 20 years, so he's not new to town by any means. And I appreciate that you were able to talk to citizens that are coming into Midland and know what tourists are wanting with your hotel business. I think that's important. And I appreciate Mayor Gordon's sentiments about having a link to a different community, but that's our job here as Midland councillors, to represent every resident of Midland. So if we are not already doing that, we are not doing our jobs properly. So that is not, like Deputy Mayor Pro said, that is not weighing in on my decision at all either. I I actually think that takes away from all the qualities you've presented today to even have that discussion. I think that you're business minded, and I really appreciate that. I've highlighted a lot of things that you have said about dreaming and ideas, and you have the financial capability to do that. You proved yourself through the having successful businesses. Again, I'm just going to say that I would support either one of you. I think both of you deserve to be up here because you both have the qualities. I just know that Yvonne has been researching. She's been involved in Midland politics for this entire time that I've been on term and much longer. So I think that she is more aware of the issues, and that's just where I'm drawing the line there. But I would support either one of you.
Councillor East.
Thank you, through your worship. Yeah, so even I can put aside my own differences. When I ran for council, Yvonne didn't want to see me up here. But for the benefit of Midland, and I see the value of all of her hard work, I have no problem putting aside my difference. Even though she didn't accept me, I see the hard work that she has done all of these years. So what I hold value in is the fact that this isn't something that just started 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or before Christmas, before our unfortunate passing away of a great friend. This is something she's invested in for over a decade. So what I'm saying is I'm putting aside my differences for the better of Midland. And I believe in my heart that she's the right fit for our council and Midland.
Okay, so we'll might as well put your X on the next sheet. And oh, Catherine, did you, Councillor McDonald, did you have anything you want to weigh in?
Just that, again, thanks to both of them. And as you can see, it's hard. It's one of the most difficult things is when we all believe in our heart that you're both well suited for the job. But how can I convince one of my fellow councillors to swing my way is a difficult job. Again, I'm going to support Mr. Patel. I know I use the word criticize, but I switched it to critic. I wasn't saying that she criticizes us, but she critiques us. And that's great. And I hope that she continues to do that if she's not sitting beside us. But the fact that Mr. Patel wants to work, I'm just looking at some of the words here. He's passionate about Midland. He wants to make the right decisions. He's well organized. He has business experiences, and he'll continue to work with us. I think he's the gentleman that can help us carry on our teamwork. So that's my vote. And perhaps someone will join me, Ms. Councillor Emeritus.
I was hoping you'd join me, Catherine, Councillor McDonald.
All right, everyone, put your X on, and if this doesn't work, it's going to the fishbowl. I don't think we've called for the second round yet, have we? We have our second sheet. The clerk's nightmare. But this is what happens when you have two qualified candidates. So All right, Council will mark your X, and Madam Clerk will call for your vote.
Council is ready. I will call your name. Councillor Bald.
Jazz Patel. Okay.
Deputy Mayor Prost.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor McDonald.
Jazz Patel.
Councillor East.
Yvonne Tates.
Councillor Downer.
Jazz Patel.
Councillor Meredith.
Yvonne Teets.
Councillor Ball.
Yvonne Teets.
And Mayor Gordon.
I'm so sorry to do this to you, but Jazz Patel.
Council, as you're aware, as per our procedures, we are currently in a tie break even after the second vote. So now I will take the two names of the final candidates, put them in a bowl, and I will be picking the successful candidate.
Could have done this all without us then, really. We could have just stayed home.
I've just pulled the name of this successful candidate, and that would be Mr. Jazz Patel.
Congratulations, Mr. Patel. Welcome to Council, 2022-2026 term. Also, congratulations out to Ms. Teets. You made it to the final. You got us completely locked up, tied up in knots, both superbly qualified. Clearly, you got the attention and support of this council. And I hope that this doesn't blow out your flame on your candle. And, the election is in 3 years. And the same goes out to all of our candidates who participated in this process. You are to be congratulated and thanked for not only the civic duty, but the effort you put in. Everybody was absolutely impressive. And this was not an easy decision, as evidenced by the loop we just got into. So as this concludes the vacancy application interview and appointment process, I'd like to thank all the candidates who put forward their application for their interest in becoming a member of council. Everyone's invited to remain in council chambers as we proceed with the required formalities. As the paperwork's being prepared by the clerk, I'd like to take this time to invite each member of council to provide their comments if they wish to do so. And I'll start from the left. Councillor McDonald, anything you'd like to add now?
Weather report from Portugal. It's horrible.
Sorry, we have the air duct from hell going right now. It's really loud. If you could just yell into your mic, that would be great.
Oh, I was just saying, congratulations to Mr. Patel, and thank you to all the other candidates. And just so you're not feeling too jealous, you wouldn't believe the wind and the rain here in Portugal that's happening right now. Is it nice in Midland?
Just keep it there. we need something spring-like here because we were shoveling a couple days ago. Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I thought this HVAC system was the only thing we didn't care about at budget, but it hasn't been fixed yet. So hopefully you can hear me. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out. As everyone can contest to, I was not looking forward to this. Everybody deserves to be here. Everybody gave it their all, and everyone's passionate about Midland. And that's the most important thing, is speaking for Midland residents, which everybody was here to do today. So I congratulate you all, and hopefully you can join some committees. And we're always looking for talent in every way we can. So hopefully you can put your amazing qualifications to use on other areas.
Well said, Councillor. Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Patel and look forward to working with you and joining the team. And I know we'll do great things. You'll help us do great things up here. So, and I also want to congratulate everybody. Mr. Rashevsky and Ms. Teets for making it to the second round, and everyone previous to that. Thank you for stepping up and trying to fill this seat. And it was difficult, as you could see. Process has spoken. So again, Mr. Patel, congratulations.
Councillor East.
Congratulations to Mr. Patel, and I'm looking forward to working with you as a team member on our council. Looking forward to opening doors to different cultures. So this is a very exciting thing. Yvonne, I wanted to congratulate you and thank you very much for all of your hard work over the years. And thank you for, educating me. You really are important in the back scenes. And to be honest with you, it would probably restrict you. Now you're not restricted and you can still fight for us. You as well. And Cody, good luck, my friend. Remember, your value isn't in this. Your value is in your family, okay?
Deputy Mayor.
I'd just like to thank everybody who applied for this position today. All 7 of you were fabulous. And the top 3, it was very, very difficult. I wish everybody the best, and you can always come back. And I'd like to congratulate Mr. Patel in your new position. You'll be right beside me. Thanks.
Councillor Bald.
Yes, congratulations. And we hope that Yvonne continues with her good things doing and helping all of the different establishments that you keep going to. Thank you very much. And thank you to Mr. Patel and his family. Thank you.
Councillor Downer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, now you know why we got alligator skin. I want to congratulate Mr. Patel and thank the other candidates for all their hard work and honesty coming out. I know it's a tough call, but hopefully we'll see some names on ballots in the next election. And you take another shot at it. And thank you very much for coming out.
We're still working on paperwork. I could start. Oh, are we good? Or am I doing knock jokes? Kill time? No? Okay. All right, I have here a motion moved by Councillor Downer, seconded by Councillor East, that bylaw 2024-25, being a bylaw to adopt a qualified candidate to the office of councillor for the corporation of the town of Midland, be passed and enacted. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Next, I have a sorry. All right, and folks in the gallery, if I could have you have a seat, we're just going to, we have some formality we need to do now, which I'd like to have your full attention for since you're here. So I'd like to invite Madam Clerk to administer the oath of office.
Thank you. If I could have Mr. Patel join me at the podium for the oath of office.
I, Jasmine Patel, have been appointed to the office of Councillor in the Corporation of Town of Midland. Do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will not disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And I make this solemn promise and declaration, sorry, conscious,
Just number 3, just say, I will.
I will,
disclose,
oh,
not
sorry.
will not disclose.
I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And I make this, finish that up, okay. Sorry, a little nervous. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles of the Third. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under the oath.
Congratulations and welcome to the team.
So if I just have a little 2-minute speech, if I don't mind. So I just want to thank the council for believing in me, and the ones that questioned me, I want to make sure that I will make you believe in me if I'm given the right amount of time. And like I said from the beginning, I like to work as a team, collaborate, and share ideas. But my ideas are not the most important ideas. It is the ideas of the team that this council has. Thank you.
Well said. So we've got a crash course ahead in over the next time, so you're fully up to speed to join us at our next council meeting, and staff will be working with you closely and trying to basically be drinking from a fire hose. So we have the fire chief in the back corner there, so he's got loaded up with all the policies and procedures, and there's lots to learn. But everybody here did it, and we believe in you as well. I have a motion here moved by Councillor Meredith, seconded by Councillor Bald, that bylaw 2024-26, being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of this special meeting of council held March 27th, 2024, be passed and enacted. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And last but not least, moved by Deputy Mayor Prost, seconded by Councillor Bald, that this special meeting of council adjourn at 4:09 p.m. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.